We talked about it in the VCS Preps Periscope pregame show. There's a lot of pageantry in high school football throughout Ventura County, and two teams with proud fan bases. A big game tonight. The VCS Preps Game of the Week, presented by the Ventura County Star, as the Buena Bulldogs visit the Simi Valley Pioneers. Good evening, Ventura County and beyond. My name is Danny Page. If you saw me on the VCS Preps Periscope pregame show, then you know all about what we're about to see tonight. I'd like to bring in my broadcast partners for the evening, the wise man, the Deuce, Derry Eads, along with Kent Brown. You're just Kent. He's the wise man. Deuce, this game last year was an absolute shootout, 55-36. Do we have reason to believe the same tonight?
Could see both teams throw 40 times tonight, although it seems like Buena may have a little bit more of a running attack than what we've seen from Simi Valley at this point.
Yeah, Simi's really struggling to run the football, at least in their opener, and that's something we'll get to throughout the night. Ken, a lot of points on the board, do you think?
Yeah, I would think so. You need to have balance, and that's why Derry mentioned with Buena. With Juan Gaitan, you kind of have that. With Simi, Trevor Bunker, they're searching for it, but as the game goes on, the more balance you have, the more points you generally can put up. But yeah, both these quarterbacks, they should be throwing it a ton, and I would say, conservatively, both teams, if they're not scoring at least 35, it'd be kind of a surprise.
Deuce, defensively, though, you have to give the edge to Buena, right? And it's something that we talked about before we came on air here tonight. Simi has a lot of holes to fill defensively.
Yeah, you know, they lost their top 13 tacklers from last season. So, plus, with one of those guys being Dave Spinkston, their starting quarterback from last year to graduation. So they've got it's a big learning experience for them through this first few games, getting ready for the Canyon League season. Buena has their top 8 guys from the defense that really kind of got better as the season went along last night.
Absolutely. The defense was exposed for Buena in the playoff game that ended their season. We had it right here on the VCS Preps Game of the Week. Buena Calabasas. When I talked with Coach Gutierrez about that this week, actually we didn't talk about it. He stopped me in my tracks. Quite a memorable game, though, as the Bulldogs went out to the Calabasas Coyotes. An absolute thriller here. Davis Pinkston kind of did it all for Simi Valley. Tanner Darling really does it all now for Simi this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, Tanner Darling last week, he had, and his 2 starts last year, he put up big stats, and then of course last week, found a way to win. You beat Royal, and then on top of it, or actually I should say, you find a way, you put up 21 points in the second quarter, but then in the second half, the issue became, what do you do? How do you keep scoring points? We mentioned, we were talking before the game, second quarter, all of their points. First quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, they struggled. You can't come out of the gate in both the first half and the second half and get shut out. So I think going forward, obviously so much is on Tanner Darling, but you're going to need help in other aspects because he can't do it all. And Derry, I know you mentioned before the game, 54 or 59 plays, he's out there pretty much the ball in his hands making plays. You can't rely on one guy that much.
No, I think they're really missing a guy like Drew Moore from last year. He was a 1,000-yard rusher. Maybe they don't need a 1,000-yard rusher here, but they need a guy who's going to get a maybe 70 or 80 a game to complement whatever Darling's going to do.
The Buena Bulldogs, as you see there, take the field. Buena in the all-white uniforms with numbers that you can actually read. The numbers are black with blue trim. The helmets all black for the Buena Bulldogs, who come in at 1-0. They beat Simi's greatest rival, Royal, 1-0 on the season now. A fine win for Buena last week. A late drive to seal the victory. Young running back Juan Gaitan with a 13-yard game-winning touchdown. And here come the Pioneers. They ran through that tunnel, hey, just as I did in the VCS Preps Periscope pregame. Should be a fun game tonight.
They were a bit more intimidating than you, though. I don't know. You run through, you have a blue dress shirt on. They run through with the helmet and the shoulder pads. I know you probably did a good job, but not quite as intimidating as the guys as the maroon and gold.
apparently you weren't watching, were you? And you know, our crew did wear blue tonight, as Lauren Ledeen, the lock, mentioned in his column today. For those of us that follow Ventura County football, the sudden death of Daniel Morales earlier this week in Camarillo. A Newbury Park student, but he had been at Camarillo for a few years, and I think just to see someone at that age pass in such tragic fashion, it leaves a lot of questions. So our thoughts are certainly with his family and the families at Camarillo and Newbury Park High School, but our crew doing just a little bit we can to honor that young man tonight. We're certainly thinking about his family. We're set for kickoff here, though, as the Simi Valley Pioneers will kick away. Tyler Cassane, the kicker. Blake is long gone, but his brother opens this one up. And we are off and running as Josh Davila will return this from the 2-yard line. Works at the 15, outside at the 20, and stepped out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. Let's introduce you to the starters offensively for the Buena Bulldogs. Jacob Lyle will start at left tackle. The junior, David Orozco, number 68, the left guard. A.J. Duffner at center. Javier Jimenez, number 64, the right guard. And another senior in addition to Duffner on the line is Oscar Olmos, defensive lineman a year ago, switched to offensive line as well. The sun about to set here in Simi, and I didn't think I'd be saying this in September after last week. It's cold.
Yeah, it's windy up here, but nonetheless, it's still Southern California. It's better than most areas.
Martin Mijares drops back, tosses on the bubble screen to Belling, and Belling tries to get a block around the outside and does it to 35, 40, 45, crosses midfield. Nice cutback. And just like that, Buena is deep into Simi territory on the first play, a 37-yard gain to Mason Belling. There's that senior standout at wide receiver.
Yeah, we discussed last week quick passes, efficiency. That one just a simple screen pass, and then you get the movement, good blocking upfield, great gain on first down.
Derry, I think that's exactly what Oxnard was looking for last week early on, wasn't it? What Buena orchestrated.
Yeah, you know, that was just really, they had a bunch of drops last week for Oxford. It just really kind of killed them.
Buena establishes the early rhythm on the opening play, but doesn't really follow that up on the second play. They lose a yard. Juan Gaitan will start at the running back spot. It might have been Tyler Oliveras, but it looks like Tyler is out this week again. The H-back, Michael Page, no relation, and Robert Jansen, the 6'2", 217-pound tight end. With the senior quarterback starting under center on 2nd and 11, Martin Mijares. We'll talk about Martin a little bit more after this play. The head coach of the Buena Bulldogs is Tim Gutierrez. Santa Clara High, great. 7-step drop for Mijares. Completes that one underneath to Connor Sagendorf, and Sagendorf picks up about 5 yards.
Yeah, good gain. You get back probably half the yardage. Now it's third and manageable. You're in plus territory. You can pick up another few here and consider also going for 4th. That time, that was a good play. Mijares, he saw what's available, dump it off quickly, pick up 5-6 yards. Not too bad.
It's really not a situation where you're going to kick a field goal for the most part, especially into the wind. Remember, follow the Twitter account at VCS Preps. That's exactly what I'm doing here this evening. We'll keep you posted on all the scores. Remember, Pacifica, a big win last night, 42-0 over Reseda, and a big third down coming up for the Buena Bulldogs. 3rd down and 6 from the shotgun. Mijares over the middle, tipped, and it looked like it was off the hands of a Buena player. It's a penalty flag down at the line of scrimmage. It's a late flag, though. Either of you guys catch what that may have been?
Not too sure right now. I know either way the pass was behind Sagendorf. Otherwise it would have been pulled in, but it's in that territory, potentially holding. It's near the line of scrimmage.
I think he was really looking for the guy who's further downfield.
The one that almost got deflected to.
Exactly. It looked like Sagendorf reached out for the ball, Darian. It was intended for Belling downfield, don't you think?
Yeah. And they called ineligible receiver downfield.
So it would have been negated anyway. It's 4th down and 6, and Buena will go for it. I wonder if that's a situation where you do consider taking the penalty.
You have to have faith in your defense here. If you have faith, force them to get a 4th and 6. It's not too easy.
It's been a brisk drive for the Bulldogs. This will be their 5th play on 4th down and 6. Motion man is Belling. Mijares, lots of time. Not anymore. Mijares down at midfield. Big sack for Simi Valley, and the Pioneers will take over. Luke Ott, the senior defensive end, with the sack.
A 14-yard loss, and that's why you have faith in your defense. You get those big guys up front, penetrate the A gap and the B gap, they come, and then when you hit them, you don't let the ball get out of Maharis's hands. A lot of times you see a quarterback will shake away, someone's wide open. Great defensive effort.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to get to with Derry maybe the next time Buena has the ball, is his progression as a senior quarterback now. On 59 plays last week, 55 of those, Darling either ran or threw the ball. That time it is carried by number 23, Trevor Bunker. He didn't play last week. He'll be a big addition. We'll get to the starters in a second. Low snap, it hits the ground. A little out route thrown. And that's complete to number 21, Alex Sanders. And that's a first down, gentlemen.
One thing they have to do this week, Derry, not turn the ball over. Last week, that was one of the hindrances for this Pioneers team. They'd be able to move the football, and then they turned it over. Today, it's now week 1 after that week 0 effort. Can't afford to turn it over. Good start, but that's going to be a key tonight for the Pioneers.
Well, but having that extra running back in there is going to open things up for this offense.
It really changes everything, I think. And when we saw Simi last year, as Bunker carries there, well, we saw Drew Moore last year when he was running the ball effectively. Simi Valley was effective more so as a team, as this is complete. Another quick gain, run out of bounds right at the sticks is Alex Sanders.
It's 2 now to Sanders, easy passes, and that time it was a good formation. You go trips on the left, short side, throw it to the wide man, have your 2 blockers, get up, chip away at the defensive backs. You only need 5 yards, you pick up more, and then you get another first down. Or at least they're close to the first. I don't know if they quite called it a first.
You might measure.
That's what it looks like.
Remember to follow VCS Preps on Twitter. You can also use the hashtag VCSPGOTW. If you are watching, please feel free to communicate with us. Here on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, my name is Danny Page. With me, Kent Brown and the Deuce, Derry Eads. Next week it'll be Ventura and Rio Mesa as we go back to Larrabee. We were there in the final game we carried during the 2014 season. A slim win for the Ventura Cougars against the Simi Valley Pioneers as Ventura went on to the Southern Section Western Division Championship game.
And they measured, and it will be a first down for the Pioneers.
So really, Simi's moved the ball at 23
Well, wait a second.
yards.
They need to move the chains.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do on the far side.
Well, they were starting ready to go to play, and
well, we saw. Remember last week the chain gang had problems too.
And last night referees had problems as well, didn't they, in that Colorado-Hawaii game? Here's a quick throw for Darling, and that one's beyond the reach of Alex Sanders. When we look back to last year, Darian Davis Pinkston, just reflect on what he was like to watch over the years as a player and what Simi's losing.
boy, he was a big-time player. I mean, he was just one tough guy when he was especially running the ball. I mean, he was a true leader out there, and he made all the difference bringing up that program to win its first league championship since 1985 and first playoff win since 1994.
The figures are staggering, aren't they?
It really is. I mean, he is probably the number 2, number 3 passer in Simi Valley history.
A toss to the left side on 3rd and short, and that's going nowhere. Bunker will lose about 5.
And it should have been face mask on Bunker. The defensive back came through, and for Buena making the play was Tyler Olivares, and Bunker just grabbed his face mask and basically held him. They're lucky that wasn't a 15-yard personal foul on offense, but now it sets up 4th and long.
You know, I hadn't noticed Tyler Olivares on the field, but it's good to see that he's out there. And Simi will go for it now on 4th down. The two teams have been in situations where you need to go for it on 4th. I still don't think either are very fond of punting just in general. Here's Darling with some time to throw toward the end zone, but into triple coverage. Tipped and caught. It popped up in the air, and Alex Sanders hauls it in. Touchdown, Simi Valley.
So
With 7:24 to go in the first quarter at 6-0 Simi.
So Hoffman tips it in triple coverage. It goes in the air, and then Sanders, with his third catch of the possession, brings it in. A 37-yard touchdown. Sometimes you need some luck, Derry, and that time it falls in the hands of Alex Sanders.
Well, there's about 5 guys who could have caught that ball.
But only one of them for Simi,
one
right?
Well, 2, because one who tipped the ball.
It almost looked like it was overthrown for him to be able to get there. So his only option was to basically kind of set it. If we're looking at volleyball, this is girls volleyball season at the high school level. It looked like he could have just kind of set it beyond the Buena defenders, and it went straight down to Alex Sanders, and just like that, it's 7-0.
Yeah, it's fortunate, for sure. And that time, it was a poor decision. I know it ends up in a touchdown, but not necessarily the best decision by Tanner Darling to throw it into triple or quadruple coverage. But sometimes you need fortune, and that time, you got to give some credit to Sanders. He was around the ball, and sometimes half the battle as a wide receiver is just being near the football.
That goes out of the end zone, and it's good for a touchback. From the opening 2 drives for each team, I have to say at the moment, not much to separate the two. I mean, it really looked like both drives were going to stall on 4th down. Simi with a very fortuitous touchdown to make it 7-0.
Especially on 4th down.
Fourth and 8.
Yeah, I guess, though, if you're going to throw that type of pass, throw it on 4th down at least, because if they pick it off at the 2 or 3, that's actually better than having the team start at the 37. You don't want to make that type of throw on 1st or 2nd down.
For Tanner Darling, it's his 4th touchdown pass of the season, as Anthony Tennyson carries 4 yards. Let's go through the starters on the defensive side of the ball for Simi Valley. Luke Ott, who had that big sack on 4th down at defensive end, along with Lucas Neal, number 57. Defensive tackles are seniors as well, Aaron Aguilera and Julian Escobar. At the linebacker positions, Juan Fuentes, Cole Benishek, Jack Henderson, and Sean McInerney. In the secondary, Brett Guile, Kyle Shinagawa, Francisco Lanuza, and of course the kicker is Tyler Cassane. They really just work with one deep safety, as Maharis will test that secondary at the moment. He completes the pass to Mason Belling. He's tackled by literally half of the Buena defense, and it's 1st down.
And that's going to be one of the big weapons tonight is Mason Belling. If given protection, we know Maharis, that's his go-to target. And Belling, big receiver, he's a weapon. You look at him, over 6 feet tall. That time he just sat in the zone, got the 1st down, and that was a heck of a throw, but a great play by Belling. If he can find that soft spot in that defense all night, that's going to be a big issue for Simi Valley.
He's reading the zone very well.
Maharis gives to the motion man, Burgum. Burgum gets just a couple yards. Let's talk about Martin Maharis a little bit. I remember him as a sophomore, Derry. He goes from a wide-eyed kid to a serious senior leader. He's the coach on the field, says Tim Gutierrez, and I think Coach Gutierrez is just hoping to have a season where he doesn't have to promote a running back to quarterback.
Well, Noah Martinez did a great job.
He did.
When Maharis went out.
But remember Kendrick Mathis, too, filling in at the position?
Yeah, you're right. They lost a quarterback like the first game of the season against Newbury Park.
So that's 2 out of the last 3 years that they would lose their starting quarterback for a good chunk of the year, obviously, and then have to use a running back at the quarterback position. And Tim Gutierrez is, I think as we look over time, he's one of the more, I don't know how to say this, quarterback gurus for the market for Ventura County.
I think that's a
really
real good
developed
term.
some great players.
He really has.
The term was right.
He really just hasn't had the depth of quality players to really run the offense that he did when he was at St. Bonaventure. He really ran some great offensive teams.
But it's very difficult to, as here's an inside screen.
Which he really
Belling.
likes to run.
picks up 5 yards.
Yeah, that's basically, if you look at that sort of play, it's an extended run. You throw it near the line of scrimmage, you catch it, you have your offensive lineman go down and block. That's a smart play, and we've mentioned with both these quarterbacks is you don't want to put everything on their shoulders, even though that goes in the stat book as a pass. That's an easy play, and Belling, he can turn the ball upfield. We've seen it a few times now. That's good when you have a wide receiver on the outside that has the vision of a running back. And so if he can continue to make those plays, why not continue to go to that?
You just have to complete that 9 times out of 10. It looked like offside on the other side. When you talk about Gutierrez and his time at Buena, 4th year, and expectations are obviously elevated now. Not just what he expects out of the kids, but what he expects out of himself and the program in general, Derry, because now this really is his program. Now he's been here 4 years, and now it's really time for this to be a Tim Gutierrez program.
Yeah, he inherited the program that Cliff Farrar left. They won a Channel League title under Cliff. They went 9-3, and since then, they've been like They've been like a 500, pretty much a 500 team since. But kind of like a contender in the Channel League.
A yard on that run. You know what's funny, Derry, is as I do the math here, since Coach Gutierrez has been around, they are exactly a 500 team. They are 17-17 after the win last week. And with his experience at St. Bonaventure as an assistant, with his time as a star at Santa Clara, he doesn't want to be 500. That's just not good enough. This could be a big step tonight as the Dogs look to go to 2-0. Pitch off to the left side to Gaitan, and he picks up 3 or 4. So they're really back in the same situation they were in not that long ago, Kent.
Yeah, they're in plus territory, and it seems like they're moving the football well when they're doing outside runs, tosses, sweeps, things like that. Inside, anytime you've seen anything sort of up through the middle, I think so far Simi Valley's been good in that aspect. So for now, it'll be interesting to see how the defense adjusts to those outside tosses, because you clearly want Gaitan to keep getting it, but if you're Simi Valley, you need to figure that out and really force some inside runs.
And then they've kind of gone with an inside pass right after those runs.
Looking the same way, Maharis flushed again, gets away for a second. He'll try to get outside, pitches the ball for a completion. It was incomplete, but the player did bring the ball in. Ultimately, the side judge ruled him out.
They look like a shortstop tossing it to a second baseman there. Good effort by Maharis, and that's what I said on the first possession. Simi got into the backfield. Maharis was on the turf. This time he gets away. That could have been about a 7 or 8 yard loss. Instead, they were able to keep where the down and distance was. But of course now, special teams units coming in. Should be able to punt deep here, but nonetheless, you just never know. But that time, Maharis, good effort, almost somehow made the completion.
Punting into the wind.
With 2 return men back deep, though, Trevor Smith and Trevor Bunker. It's a high kick. It gets caught in the wind as well. It'll bounce at the 27, and it takes a pretty serious Simi bounce. That's a 12-yard punt. Let's take you through some of the scores tonight. Rio Mesa is on top of San Marcos 14-0. We will have Rio in our VCS Preps Game of the Week next week when they visit the Ventura Cougars. Will Cowan, the athletic director of Ventura College and a fill-in color analyst for us on some cases, will be joining us on the sideline. It's going to be a full house. Looking forward to that. Moore Park is up 7-3 over Palos Verdes. PV, the reigning Western Division champions. Newberry Park tied 7-7. Ventura leads 7-0 over Agora. And Darling on a keeper picks up 4.
Yeah, that was a designed keeper that time. Not a bad game, but nonetheless, not great blocking on that one. They need to figure that out because, as Derry said, too much was relied on him last week. They need to get more out of Bunker.
Thrown to the left side. Good for a couple yards. Cole Hauptmann.
The one that tipped it to Alexander. So he should have gotten an assist. If it was, the old hockey assist or in basketball, you get it. That time, we should credit Hauptmann the rest of the day for getting an assist in addition to, any receptions he gets.
If only you could award that statistic. Here's Bunker, cuts back on 3rd down, nothing there. So I would think it'll be a 3-and-out for Simi Valley. job done from the Buena defense.
A nice tackle by Drew Mathis, the senior linebacker, 6'3", 220, a ton of size. He just came in, run fit was perfect, and that time you feel that run fit, you get the hit, and you force a third down. Or fourth
I
down,
suppose not. 4th down and 3, and Bunker is stopped. A huge stand for the Buena defense. Derry,
Well,
talk some sense into
this
these
is
guys.
one thing that Buena did last week very well. They only allowed 44 yards rushing. If you're going to do anything, throw the ball on these guys.
Absolutely. You look at that Buena front, and I haven't even had a chance to get through the Buena defensive starters. Drew Mathis, a highly touted recruit on the West Coast. Number 2, the big defensive lineman. Cannon Tobin, a solid junior. And then the center, Duffner and Frank Sandoval, really make up a strong core for the Buena defense.
Yeah, they looked good there, and that time it maybe looked like Simi was slightly rushed on 4th down. The Bulldogs were ready.
Here's Gaitan, who breaks for a first down.
Big blitz by Simi Valley, and they got caught.
Yeah, if you come with the pressure, you better put a hand on the running back. And that time, running away from it was Gaitan. And you're right there. They came, they brought, I believe, 8 on that one, and nobody was able to get a hand on Gaitan until he was 9 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Caught really on a couple plays in a row, Simi Valley. Inside a minute to go in a first quarter that has really flown by. It's been highly entertaining. Here's Gaitan at the 20. And he has a lot of space to run right through the middle. A.J. Duffner at the center spot, just really clearing a path for him.
Yeah, 8-yard gain, and so far, that's what I think if you're Buena, you need to be able to do. We mentioned the quick passes that are virtually runs, the outside rushes. Now this is back-to-back plays. They've been able to go in between the hashes, pick up yardage. That's a positive sign for the Bulldogs.
2nd down and 3. Could be the final play of the quarter. Gaitan takes it down to the 6, and the clock will stop as the officials move the chains. 14 and 9/10 seconds remain. Simi Valley, as you see on the bottom of your screen, leading 7-0. And you also see our camera that keeps the clock running, blowing around a little bit. It just shows you how windy it is up here atop the press box at Simi Valley High School, Bob Jacob Memorial Stadium. Buena will run a play. Gaitan will run up the middle, and Buena will run to the opposite side of the field where they'll have 2nd down and goal. The first quarter comes to a close with Simi Valley Pioneers leading the Buena Bulldogs 7-0. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Boy, a big break for Simi. Actually, both teams have gotten some good breaks for their could be a potential scoring drive. Simi Valley got a great break when they were able to score, and looks like Buena was able to get that big drive, the big break, stopping them on 4th down. Other than that, both teams seem to be moving the ball pretty good.
Yeah, I think right now when you look at the first quarter, the offense I like more just in terms of for 4 quarters would be Buena because they've shown more of an ability to be balanced. And also defensively, you like those guys up front like Mathis getting the stop on 4th down. For Simi, they moved the ball pretty well, but it was fortunate to get your 7 points. But I think my overall thoughts are this seems like it should be a pretty well-played, even game. But right at this moment, I kind of like where Buena is a bit more just based on the fact of their run-pass ability.
7-0 is, you can follow along with all the scores at VCS Preps. And right before this play, really a moving photo of the Panther Pit at Newbury Park, all wearing blue, and the hashtag Season for Mo. It's something to see the way the county's rallied around. The start of the second quarter with Buena trailing 7-0. Here's Gaitan. And Buena now trails by 1 point, extra point pending, a 3-yard TD run. And the Bulldogs are on the board as we start the second quarter.
Yeah, Gaitan, that was pretty much him. Well, it was him the entire possession. 5 plays, bunch of those were for first downs. That one, of course, for a touchdown. He's been very nice for them so far in this game. And I know you mentioned at the start, Maharis, how will he do throughout the 4 quarters? Clearly, when you can put the ball in the hands of Gaitan and he's making 7 yards, 10 yards, 11 yards, that makes it much easier for the quarterback.
Well, he threw only 20 times last week, completing 15, So that means the running game was working very efficiently. When the running game is working very efficiently, that really opens up for a really good short passing game.
We've seen Tim Gutierrez at least a half dozen times since he's been head coach at Buena, Darian. We've seen him a lot early in the season, but I can't say that I've seen a Buena team in rhythm like we're seeing this Buena team right now at any stage of the year.
Oh, they're really looking really sharp. Except for that big blitz where they talked Maharis for about a 15-yard sack, they've really moved the ball pretty well. They're really getting their running game going, like Kit mentioned earlier.
This will be returned by Bunker, who drops the ball, picks it up at the 10, now works to the 20, room on the left side, and he'll get out to the 35, although there's a penalty flag at the 38-yard line. And a late flag comes in as well. And if I had my guess, it looked like a blocking foul on Simi Valley, and the larger Simi player was on top of the Buena player. The Buena player then came and shoved him after the play. I think we're going to have offsetting penalties. And I know you never want to fully guess on penalties, but I do because I'm normally right.
Well, and what's funny about these, and with returns in
You're
general,
always right, aren't you, Dave?
No, you're the wise man over here. You brought a sweatshirt.
It's also funny, he catches it at the 10, loses it, and it's in kick returns, you want to be able to contain and fit your runs and know where you're going and know your lanes. But when you ever see it on a kick return, when a player fumbles it, everything breaks down, and rather than probably getting tackled at the 15 or 20, everyone kind of ran towards where he fumbled. He picks it up, runs the other way, picks up 25 yards, and if it is offsetting, it's a pretty good return after nearly coughing it up right there at the start. But yeah, it looks like the way those flags were thrown, probably some sort of block in the back and then maybe a Buena personal foul. But here comes the white hat. We'll find out in a moment.
You see it happening from time to time, too. Exactly what you're talking about. A fumble and then more space to personal foul, face mask against Simi, dead ball, personal foul against Buena.
Yeah, so just mark the ball back at, I think it's on the 35, and should be okay.
No, mark it back. He'll walk it all the way back.
15-yard setback.
Hey,
Why go through that?
He's getting his
Why
calisthenics
go
in.
through that?
This is really
Just say offsetting
unnecessary.
penalties.
This is an unnecessary exercise, I think.
Well, he got himself a little jog there.
30 yards to be exact.
Yeah, he figures if the players are getting all their exercise, I'm going to get mine in as well.
That's what
He's looking at his Fitbit.
Exactly.
How many steps did
That's
I just make?
1/60th of a mile. So we'll be counting, as you said, on our wearable tech. 1st and 10. Darling sprints near side. Tough throw, but he completes
Boy, he
it.
was really close to being intercepted.
Nice coverage on the near side, Anthony Castillo.
Castillo nearly got the interception. He went for it, and that time, fortunate, that's now the second time that Tanner Darling's been lucky he wasn't intercepted. But nonetheless, you get a positive gain, move the sticks, first down. That ball needed to have some zip on it. Otherwise, it's 6 the other way. Fortunately, it did. That was a good arm.
Especially into the wind as well, which breeze might be a bit more dramatic up here. Darling flush to the left, throws complete at midfield. Scooting his way to the 40-yard line is Cole Hoffman. Not only does he have a couple catches, this one going for 17, he's got an assist as well.
I'm also not exactly certain that he wasn't over the line of scrimmage on that throw. It was close. You saw Darling sort of shifting right near that 43, 44-yard line. I thought I might see a flag. Didn't call it, 17-yard gain.
Goes for a few yards for Darling. Yeah, Derry, I want to take you to one of the scores that I'm reading about on the VCS Preps Twitter account.
Take me there.
Thousand Oaks leading 14-0. Remember as a sophomore we saw Kevin Howell, and he looked like he could be such a star. Howell returned the opening kickoff for a score, and now has a 26-yard touchdown catch from Max Gillum. Certainly the star emerging.
He's just a great three-way threat. You know, he plays really good defense, returns, great, one of the best receivers in the county.
Big sack as A.J. Duffner takes down Darling.
And they're loving these quarterback keepers, but that time there was nobody to block. So Darling's running with no blockers, and then a great play. in the open field, you need your defensive lineman to come up and make that play. A.J. Duffner, heck of an effort there.
3rd down and 11. Buena linebacker showing blitz. 5 total coming. Darling looks downfield to the 20. Tipped in the air. What a play. This time Anthony Castillo does get there. It looked like he had an opportunity to pick the ball off on the opening play of the drive. This time he knocks it away.
Perfect coverage, bracketed on both ends, front and back. And I'm not sure, unless it was threaded perfectly, how that's going to be complete. Great job by the Buena defense. Back-to-back series, they've held their own there. And that was just a great job by Castillo. Missed the pick a few plays ago. That time knocks it away.
Darling had completed 7 of his first 8 passes.
4th
So that's
and 11 now.
fourth down play.
Darling is the punter, though. He's going to throw. He's not kicking the ball. On 4th down, throwing to the same area, and it's overthrown this time. Just a little bit too high for Alex Sanders.
Yeah,
Kick the ball.
That's probably the poorest throw or he had on this possession at least. And yeah, it's weird. I mean, granted, like you said earlier, Danny, neither of these coaches really want punt in their vocabulary all that much. But this time, you're past the 50, punt it deep and see what Buena's offense can do. That also maybe shows me a little bit that they might fear this Buena offense so much that they're just rolling the dice and going for 4th down because they know they're probably going to have to put up points throughout to have a chance. Not necessarily smart. It's one thing if it's 4th and 3, but 4th and 11 probably should punt the football there.
Well, they probably think it's against the wind, and they're only going to get about a 10, 15-yard net punt, so why not go for
Take
it?
a shot. Of course, if you're doing that, then on 3rd down, maybe pick up 5 or 6. Go for something a little bit. Sure. Approaching the 9-minute mark here on the VCS Preps Game of the Week. Our 5th season, bringing you Ventura County's top football contests each week. At other sites, Westlake, in Tony Henney's home debut, is losing in the second quarter 6-0 to Red Mountain from Arizona. Rio Mesa leads San Marcos 21-0. We'll see Eddie Guerrero and company next week. I should say Stevie Houston. He's a talented young wide receiver. 2nd and 9 for Buena. Harris works from under center, looks to throw to the left side, now spins away. What will the experienced senior do this time? Gets away again, room to run to the near side, and he picks up a few yards. That's a play that over the last couple years probably would have been a loss of about 10 or 12, but this time he ends up picking up 3.
Yeah, that's fine. If you're a coach, you're fine with your quarterback doing that. Didn't throw it into traffic, didn't maybe try to force anything. You pick up the 3-4 yards, and then you worry about 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That's pretty manageable. That was a heads-up play by Mahara. Second time today he's really done that. Nothing available, take off, try to get out of bounds, because we saw last week some quarterbacks stay in bounds and take shots, get out of bounds, and save your life later, because you don't want to just get all that impact beaten up on you all game.
Pagano will learn. I think Dalton Pagano will learn, even though he's a senior. He's going to start sliding more. 3rd and 7 for Mijares. Plenty of time. Throwing to the running back, Gaitan. Room to run at the 35. Nice cut back to the 25-yard line. 1st down for Buena and a big one. 35 yards.
Yeah, that was too easy. That time the defense broke down, and we mentioned earlier the fact that Belling was finding that soft spot of the zone. Gaitan just rolled out. Nobody was near him. Nobody in that pretty much 3rd of the field. He caught it with momentum, with space, and I think at least maybe 2 of us could have probably gained at least 20, 25 yards on that one, and Gaitan took it off, picked up over 30. That's impressive.
In cruise control there. Here's Gaitan again. He's really been the star man so far on the evening for the Bulldogs. Having a good night.
Yeah, he's definitely been the star, at least these last couple possessions. Last possession, 5 plays, all Gaitan. This time, a simple 35-yard completion down the sideline. And I like what I've seen out of Mijares so far in this game. We're approaching the midway point of the second quarter. Derry, I think he's looked pretty sharp.
He has. I mean, they're looking at what the Simi Valley defense is giving them. They're taking away the wide receivers, and they're finding Gaitan wide open.
Both when he runs and as a receiver. Nice block from Gaitan. Mijares to throw over the middle of the field, and he picks up a good half dozen yards. You saw something else, though, Ken.
Well, that time he should have thrown it quicker to Belling. Belling had space, probably could have gotten the first. He waited about 2 seconds too much, and that's why Belling got dropped there right in the back. That was a tough hit. Need to release it a bit earlier. Again, still a completion, sets up third and short, but that should have been probably a 10, 12-yard gain. Fortunately, Belling held on to it. That time, Mijares waited 1 or 2 seconds too much, and it almost cost him.
Third down and about 3 from the 18-yard line. Mijares, play fake, rolling right, gets away
how
from
do you
a
get
couple.
through 2 people? Boy.
Comes back to this side. He'll run himself, and he'll pick up the first down and go out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. First and goal, Buena.
Yeah, you're right there. He escaped from 2 of the Simi defensive linemen that came up unpenetrated, or really unmolested on that one. Took off, picked up, I guess, 9 yards. Now it's first and goal. But the one thing I like about Mijares, too, he's shown the ability not only to run more towards his, he's a righty running towards the right. He can cut back on the left side, open his body up. One of these times he's going to find an open receiver when he's scrambling around like that. Great game.
First and goal from the 9 for the Bulldogs as they look to extend their lead. Here's Anthony Tennyson, who barrels on to the 1-yard line. I thought that his knee may not have gone down, and he might have, in fact, rolled over top of the defender and scored. Either way, second and goal from the 1.
Yeah, it was a heck of a power run, and we mentioned earlier in this game they weren't getting those power runs. These last couple possessions, Buena's had that ability, and you have to think this time you have 3 options now. Quarterback sneak would be fine, Dennison, and of course Gaetan. All 3 of those could easily be the option here.
Well, you got to think it's going to be Gaetan.
It's actually going to be Tennyson as
will.
Tennyson strolls on in. Touchdown Bulldogs. They lead 13-7.
Love the way this offense has performed these last 2 possessions. It's been, I won't want to say easy this possession. Last possession would be categorized as easy. This time they had to work for a couple of the plays, but great decision making. And Derry, as you said, they're finding the soft spots in the zone. They're taking advantage of what the defense is giving them. These times, they spread it out a bit, and then they're running with those 2 running backs, Tennyson and Gaetan up the middle. That's been very effective.
All 4 possessions, they've moved the ball.
Point after is good.
Yeah, they really
Even if they haven't gotten points, they've moved the ball, established, like we've talked before, a rhythm, and they're just bam, bam, bam.
Well, and again, I think the thing for us, having seen Buena a lot over the years, and Mijares on a few occasions as well, they're moving the ball with more rhythm than we've ever seen, really, under Tim Gutierrez. And that's a big step for this Buena team.
Yeah, they're on schedule. You're getting 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2. Even when you've had to deal with 4th downs, you feel like they're probably going to find a way to do it. Yeah, there hasn't been really outside of that first possession where they had, sort of the sack and the loss. Outside of that, they've been very efficient and effective. And every coach knows staying on schedule, following the game plan, and then taking what the defense gives you. That's going to be a recipe for success. And Buena now, for their sake, they want the defense to come up with like a 3-and-out or a quick stop and get the ball back because their offense is rolling.
Chance for a nice return from Bunker, who works his way outside of the 25. And Royal will start from about the 27-yard line, a 13-yard return. And Bunker seems to have slowed down a little bit in terms of his power on the offensive side of the ball, Derry, which again we pointed out was going to be a big key.
Well, we're talking about a guy who missed the opener. He was had a little injury and was sick too, and so he's probably not yet at 100%.
But if it's not him, they need somebody in that running game to step up. If it's not Bunker, maybe even one of the receivers on some handoffs. You can't rely on Darling doing all the dirty work, both passing and running. It's just not going to work out for 4 quarters in their favor.
Especially when this group is really putting a lot of pressure
Oh,
up
what
front.
a catch. What a catch.
I think it just touched the ground, Deuce, incomplete.
Yeah, good effort on that
was
one.
pretty
but
good, pretty close.
Right, what an effort, let's put it that way. It was close.
And we've seen that now last week and this week. These crossing routes, these quick slants, the quarterbacks have thrown behind on the receivers. If those are all timing routes, if you put that on the money, that's a quick 6-7 yard gain. That might be their most effective offense right now, is quick screens, quick slants to sort of negate what they can't get in the running game.
That one's tipped in the air by Mason Belling, who starts at the linebacker spot. Belling, Tennyson, Revelis, and Rios, the linebackers. Moises, Vargas, Anthony Castillo, Ricky Lopez, Josh Davila in the secondary.
And now look at it. They're facing a 3rd and 10. This Buena offense is hungry. The defense has stepped up its last couple possessions. And we've seen Darling force a couple passes. He's been fortunate he hasn't been picked. This might be one of those times Buena might want to make something happen.
And a false start on the near side against Simi Valley.
Supposed to be against the Pioneers.
Now, chances are, if this is incomplete, you're going to punt here. I can't see you possibly going for it again, even though it's into the wind. Your punter last time didn't really do much, only 12 yards. This could be one of those ones, an inside draw, maybe a 7 or 8 yard sort of high percentage pass, just to sort of give your punter a bit more room. If they throw it downfield, they haven't shown the ability so far to really complete anything deep on this defense.
And this is where number 2, Drew Mathis, is so dangerous. A standing rusher thrown toward the near corner, tipped away yet again by number 7, Anthony Castillo. He has been all over this near side, but yet Simi keeps throwing back in his direction.
Yeah, that's 3 times now on his side. He nearly got an interception, knocked one down, now knocked another one down. And you might want to think about attacking the other side of the field because Castillo has been a lockdown corner on this left side.
You know, one of the problems, like on that play, there's 2 receivers right in the same area. Isolate a guy.
Yeah, it does make it way easier for a secondary to have to guard your receivers when they're bunched
And when
up
you're
together.
throwing it deep, there's that second guy can come over and knock it away.
Simi Valley will fake it,
Oh!
and Darling goes down at the 7-yard line.
Wow.
1st and goal for Buena from the 7. Tyler Oliveras. Big play on 4th down as he read the fake punt all the way. And Buena now with an opportunity to take a 2-touchdown lead.
And here's a quick change opportunity. You force the 4th down there. They decide to go for the fake. Or maybe it was a rugby punt where he just wanted the option of passing. Either way, Oliveras got to the punter, forced it, and now you're 1st and goal. And the way they're running the football right now, I don't really expect the ball to go in the air on any of these plays. I would look for Gaitan, Tennyson, Maharis, all 3 of them to run the football here inside the 10.
Well, it's a twin back set, and it is Tennyson again. And Tennyson gets probably 2. But that'll do. 2nd and goal for Buena from the 4-yard line. Tough to tell if it was a called fake punt or Darling just found it to be a challenge to kick the ball away. Any way you look at it, this is tremendous field position for Buena, and what an opportunity to take a 2-score lead. 2 wide receivers set to the far side, same formation. It will be Gaitan this time. He gets another yard. Nope, we'll say no gain.
Yeah, that was kind of sloppy
They
that
have lost
time.
a half yard.
He lost one?
It was sloppy that time. They've been pretty efficient with those handoffs, getting positive plays. That time it was kind of in no man's land. It looked like initially Tennyson was going to take it, then Gaitan ends up grabbing it, and that front 4 that time stepped up for Simi Valley. We're right there at the line of scrimmage. Good defense, but not the best of offense we've seen from Buena.
Well, when you're this close to the end zone, you got to make it go snap. You can't just draw it out unless you're doing a big sweep.
Agree. And I think the Bulldogs are going to take a timeout. With 4:07 to go, let's take you through some of the scores on our Twitter account. That's at VCS Preps. In the second quarter, Derek Rodriguez scores on a 4-yard keeper from Moore Park. The Musketeers lead Palos Verdes 14-3. Newberry Park is trailing visiting Saugus 14-7 after 1. Of course, Simi Valley losing to Saugus last week 37-21. Austin Maciel, a 10-yard touchdown run for Rio Mesa. They lead 28-0. Chris Brooks leading the way for Newberry Park in that game, mind you. Paso leads Camarillo as they go to the second quarter, 7-6. Golden Valley 7, Royal nothing. Royal just across town, debuting that new turf. See if we can look out and see the stadium lights. There's just a set of trees that kind of block what we would see as we look off to Royal Stadium about 4 miles away. Maharis, a completely different formation now. He'll have 4 wide with Gaitan in the backfield on 3rd and goal from the 6. Under center, Maharis looks to throw quickly and does. Wide open, touchdown Bulldogs. Number 6, Grayson Rocha, 4-6, and it's 20-7 Buena.
That was too easy that time. Clearly, great timeout, great coaching. They figured there was something they probably saw on film or believed in with their offense. Rocha just basically sits in that zone again, comes up, and nobody was near him. Easy pitch and catch, good throw by Maharis, nice route by Rocha. And now all of a sudden, 3 straight possessions, 3 straight touchdowns for the Bulldogs.
And to make it 21-7. PAT is good. And it's now 21-7 Buena. How did this happen? Really just a couple of lightning quick drives, one from only 7 yards for the Dogs, and now they are in complete control, you have to say.
Boy, you just kind of had to question that fake punt. I mean,
well, not only that, but just the decision to go for it on 4th down as
And 11.
consistently as they've gone. Yeah, the 4th and 11 was one. It's kind of a head scratcher. That time, I'm assuming it wasn't the coach's call there. They give him the option of rolling out and maybe taking advantage of things. Maybe he didn't think he'd be able to get the punt off, but nonetheless, the way this Buena offense is playing, Simi Valley, they haven't shown the ability to throw the deep ball. They haven't shown the ability to run the football. Outside of those quick sort of run extended plays they've had, the offense has struggled. It's going to be a real challenge to see them getting back in this game.
And now they try to return the kick to the near side.
well, now they've got to throw. And now it's kind of like there's nothing they can do with the running game. So now they've got to throw.
Yeah, it seems like with Bunker last week not playing and has been pretty limited here tonight, he had 1 or 2 carries on the first possession where he looked effective. But if they want to establish a run or at least try one more time, maybe you do it here in the 2nd quarter. But if you go 3 and out again, the way Buena's offense is playing, they might be able to put 7 more up before we go to the half. Big possession here for Simi Valley.
Pass complete to open the possession. Alex Sanders, who caught the earlier touchdown pass, picks up a couple. Simi will receive the ball to start the 2nd half. So if they were to put a drive together here or pull within a score, then they have a chance on the opening drive of the 3rd quarter to really make it as you were. Although if they give the ball back to the Bulldogs, what stops Buena from taking a 3-score lead? Darling, pressure from behind, and Darling goes down at the 8-yard line. Robert Jansen on the rush with help from who else? Drew Mathis. A big sack from Buena, and further back go the Pioneers.
Yeah, this front 7 has been terrific pretty much since the 1st or 2nd possession. This entire quarter, and we mentioned it last week, this was the quarter that Simi Valley shined. This quarter, the offense has just not been able to move. Up front, the battle between the lines, big advantage so far for Buena this 2nd quarter.
This is complete to Bunker on 3rd down, and Bunker gets up to the original line of scrimmage. And now Simi Valley, hopefully, we think, is going to punt.
You would assume so, but we've assumed a couple times prior, and it hasn't worked out that way. But, yeah, that seems to be what they're going to do. But now Buena, 2.5 minutes left.
Why doesn't Buena call a timeout right now? Now that
I think Coach Gutierrez would probably rather have the timeout in hand on it during a drive.
But on offense, you control the time.
I'm just saying how he approaches things. We're going to have 2 minutes. Fair catch called for. And let's see how far this one rolls. It'll go inside the 30, to the 40. From the 40 to the 37, it's a 39-yard punt. And look at that, Deuce. How about a 2-minute drill? That's exactly what we have. 120 seconds to go in the half.
Well, I guess the fortunate thing for Simi Valley is Buena's shown the ability to run the football the last 2 possessions. Now they're facing, if they're going to score, they're going to have to do it in short order. Maybe for Simi's sake, Buena tries to pass, they force something, and they can get out of this without giving up another touchdown. Because with 2 minutes left, you can't really afford to run the football every play unless you gain chunk 20-yard, 25-yard type of gains.
Mijares, inside screen. That is complete again to number 6, Grayson Rocha.
Escobar and Benishek on the tackle.
That's a win for the defense on that play. 3-yard gain, clock keeps moving. You like that if you are the Pioneers.
Well, one thing to remind you about this Buena team is that by mid-season, they will be a no-huddle offense. They practice as a no-huddle offense. Now, that said, Coach Gutierrez likes the team early in the season to huddle, so they're used to this. They did it last week as well, throwing downfield, and that's complete for another first down. This time it's number 18, Andrew Burgum. 24 yards, 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. So Buena has the rhythm to run a no-huddle. They scored a touchdown last week to defeat Royal with the no-huddle, and here they go.
Plenty of time, over a minute remaining. A huge chunk yardage play there of 24 yards.
Mijares, quick throw, a little high in the air for Mason Belling. He gets away from 1, and Belling will pick up 6, 2nd and 4.
You would think you'd use one of your timeouts here. It's starting to dwindle, under a minute left. You're short of the first down marker, but so far the clock's going under 50 seconds, and you still haven't burned that timeout.
I think he just has confidence in his team's ability to run a quick play and not give Simi time to reset here. I like what they're doing, frankly. Mijares drops back, 5 rushing. It's a screen play. Easy gain for Gaitan, who picks up the first.
Now
nice little cut back down to the 15.
They'll call timeout here.
Clock stops, though. You might be able to get up there, but yeah, it appears like it appears that that's what Buena's doing.
It looks like they are going to take the timeout. So now you have 2 timeouts left. You have 30 seconds left, basically, and you can take a few shots at the end zone.
Oh,
Plenty
for
of
sure.
time.
And the way we've seen these receivers, Belling, Sagendorf, Rocha, Burgum, all 4 have had nice receptions. You can go to those 4. Plus, we've seen Gaitan used out of the backfield. And then if everything breaks down, the way Mijares has shown with his ability to escape pressure and use his legs, he can keep a play alive, and somebody can just find their way somewhere in that end zone wide open. So the pressure is on the Pioneers here. Even with Buena 29 seconds left, you have to think it's like probably more than 50% chance Buena's going to find a way to work their way closer to this end zone and try punching in 7 more.
Well, the good thing about this offense is really mixed up. They've used the whole field, and there hasn't been a kind of a set thing that you figure, well, they're going to do this or they're going to do that.
And maybe Simi just psyched out the Buena Bulldogs. They just played some Miley Cyrus. Maybe Buena's now turned off by that, and they're just not going to be able to focus. You never know.
I know this broadcast team certainly is. 28.9 seconds remaining. Danny Page, Derry Eads, Kent Brown. We'll have Will Cowan on the sidelines next week. Here's Mijares. Completes, no, incomplete to Belling. And would have been a nice 8-9 yard gain, but at the same time, clock stops. Kyle Shinagawa on the coverage.
Yeah, good hit by Shinagawa there making the play. Otherwise, that's close to a first down. Really the first time we've seen Belling not be able to come up with one of those. Big time hit, and they needed somebody on this defense, specifically that secondary, to step up, be close to the receiver, and then make a play when the ball's there.
And the streak of 7 straight completions for Mijares.
Nice run for the senior quarterback. 2nd and 10, 23 seconds left, 2 timeouts remaining. Maybe Buena runs the ball here, tries to catch him off guard. Absolutely not. Throwing the post route, and it's dropped.
He was wide open. He was wide
Would have been the 2nd touchdown of the night for Grayson Rocha. It was a bit behind him, but he drops the ball, and it's 3rd and 10.
Slightly behind, but pretty much close to being on the money. Great route by Rocha, and you know that's going to be one he sees in film or later this evening saying, man, I needed to come down with that one. It was thrown well enough that should be 6.
You know, sometimes you're too wide open, and it affects you. You'd rather you almost be covered a little bit. So you lose your concentration a little bit.
Great call from Gutierrez. Nice read by Mijares. And I believe now
Timeout, Buena.
that the Bulldogs, no, it's Simi Valley taking the timeout. Yep.
They need to figure out what their defensive backs are doing on some of these, because the touchdown last time, wide open, easy pitch and catch. That time, wide open, should have been another touchdown. We saw Shinagawa make a play on 2nd down, or I should say on 1st down. That time, wide open. You can't allow these receivers to get that type of timing, that type of route production, and not be near the ball when it's thrown. I think if you're Buena right now, you look to go back to one of those type of plays on a slant or some sort of post route and see if these defensive backs can step up and make a play. Because so far, Derry, the one thing we haven't seen from Simi outside of one play is their ability to guard in that back end.
Well, like we talked about before the game, it's a young defense. I mean, they lost their top 13 defensive guys from last year. So they've been under a lot of pressure the whole game. It's a learning experience. This team will get better as the season progresses. This is a good team for them to face. They will see some things areas where they really need to improve upon.
I wonder if Buena might run the ball here.
I doubt it.
Simi showing blitz up the middle, and they bring it. Nice block from Gaitan, but Mijares still has pressure. They did ultimately run the ball. Buena takes a timeout with 10.9 seconds remaining.
Technically, they did run the ball, but it was not a designed keeper whatsoever.
Buena takes the timeout, but Coach Gutierrez runs the kicking team onto the field. There's really no debate there, as the Bulldogs will look to make this a 17-point game.
Good play that time. Nice pressure up front. You mentioned Gaitan got the good block, but that inside pressure forced the quarterback this time, Mijares, to have to get out of his spot where he can stand back with time. He escaped, and then at that point just took off. Again, smart play. Not a bad decision by Mijares. Take the 1 yard loss or take the no gain and then go in, hopefully make your field goal and get up 17 points. And a 33-yard field goal should be pretty attainable. So good job by Mijares not to force something, but that time, better pressure by Simi Valley. They need more of that. If they want to come back and pull this game off in the second half, they need more pressure from that front seven.
Set to kick for the Bulldogs is Tilkins.
Well, that was beautiful.
That is a great kick. Wow. Just a sophomore, 33-yard field goal. He made his first last week, obviously, against Royal, and Coach Gutierrez said it was really important for the young man to convert a field goal. Really helped him build his confidence going into the second game and really just the rest of the season.
Yeah, well done. It wasn't the bunch of snaps. Really good job by the holder to get that down and allow Tilkins to even get the kick off. 24 points in their last 4 possessions. That's very efficient. You have to if you're Coach Gutierrez, liking the way this offense is. And then on top of it, the way the defense is playing, it's just been an all-around great effort so far by the Buena Bulldogs here on the road, Derry.
I think the Simi Valley defense needs to get kind of an attack mode. They've been kind of on their backs of their feet the whole first half. They're not making something happen. They're reacting to whatever Buena does.
Oh, absolutely. That's
they're down 24-7. Why not be aggressive and try some things?
Yeah, exactly. That's been sort of the perfect way that Buena's been able to move the ball is, as you mentioned early in the quarter, just seeing what the defense gives you and taking that. If it's a run, pick up your 5 or 6. If it's a pass, pick up your 9 or 10. It's been very good. You're right. They have to change, become more aggressive, go for the turnovers, try to get back in the game that way.
They're not out of it yet, but advantage Buena. One of the more solid first halves we've seen in the Tim Gutierrez era. At the break, Buena leads Simi Valley 24-7 on the VCS Preps Game of the Week. My name is Danny Page. With me, the Deuce, Derry Eads, and Kent Brown. Been a good first half, boys. Let's take a timeout, and we'll catch up with you just before the second half gets underway.
Simi Valley cheerleaders, Pioneer Marching Pride, Marching Band. Ladies and gentlemen, as they march off the field, how about one more hand for the Simi Valley Marching Pride Pioneer.
That just makes you more hungry.
Yeah, it's so salty. I know what you're saying. It's really, I'm probably better off not getting it, but I think you're right about that.
Roll. Good. Good. Get out tonight. I'm going to go to Ralph's, buy all my supplies for my college football watching tomorrow. Do some hot dogs and brats. My buddy is bringing over like a whole some pork. We're going to have a nice little feast. It's a good weekend for it too. Yeah, exactly. Feel like doing a quick periscope, let people at home know what the halftime score is, and the log in.
I'm going to put on the jacket.
No, that's cool. You can even talk about that. We do the 15 and then we'll get put on the 15. Why do you have to talk?
He's a photographer. I'm gonna have a whole like cold weather kit. No, get in. Hold it.
Stand it right here, and I'll be able to hear both of them. Why don't you guys stand right here? So in fact, you know what? Right here in front of my camera, that's a good background. It shows that we're actually out here.
Do you have your lights?
Lancelotti and Bunker back for Simi Valley. Lancelotti falls on it, and it'll be first and 10 for the Pioneers.
Second half is underway here. The VCS Preps Game of the Week. Danny Page, the Deuce, Sterry Eads. You're hidden under there. It's cold, right, Deuce?
It is chilly.
It's chilly. Kent Brown with us as well. That was fun, the VCS Preps in-game Periscope. You can join us at halftime on the Periscope account. And Simi Valley runs on the first play, 5 yards. That's how they started the first half, guys, but I feel like they really haven't run the ball well since the opening couple series.
Minus 22 yards for the team.
Ouch.
You know, they had 51 yards on offense in their first drive, and then after that, they've gained about 30.
And now here to throw and throwing for a first down and a little bit more. Getting out to the 45-40 and just tripped up at midfield. But a really strong start for Simi Valley as they put a positive tone on the opening of this half. I should say a 20-yard gain.
They need more of a running game if they're going to be effective this half. We mentioned the balance that Buena had throughout that second quarter. That's something that Simi seemingly hasn't had since that first possession. Need to see more Trevor Bunker. He needs to be a weapon here in the second half if they want to come back and have any chance to win this game.
Here's Darling, quick throw near side. That's complete again, and it's number 6, Cole Hauptmann, with I believe his third catch of the night. That's good for 6 yards. Second down and 4.
I'd like to see a little bit more variety in their passing game. It seems like they've done a lot of passes to the right side, either quick outs or deep to the right-hand side. Let's see some slants in there and see whether we gain something. That way, you got to mix up the defense.
I think they're just happy to see really any kind of rhythm and positive yardage, and it all goes out the door there. A sack from who else? Drew Mathis, one of the top defensive players in Ventura County, with a big play. And it's third down and 11.
That's the second time Mathis and Jansen have come up through the middle. First time it was Jansen with the sack, and then the help with Mathis. This time Mathis is the primary sack artist on that play. And once again, back deep, third and long. We've seen them in long situations. The down and distance has not been favorable for the Pioneers really all night.
Third down and 11. Darling changing the play. As you see, trips to the far side. And now Darling will throw to the near side. Complete for a first down. Up along the far side of the field, pardon me, with the grab is number 4, Luke Ott. 15 yards for Ott. Looks like about 22, actually, excuse me. Nice gain for Luke Ott.
Yeah, I looked up at the 43, and I forgot after the sack they were in negative territory there, so nice gain for sure.
Really nice gain. As now they'll go back to this near corner, and it's just off the hands of Sam Lancelotti. He's got all that one in.
Yeah, great air underneath the football, allowed his receiver to run under it. That time, we've mentioned so much about how good Castillo has been in coverage. That was one time that Castillo was burned in coverage. Lancelotti threw his hand, should have been 6. That's one that Simi needs. There's been a couple plays tonight they've been fortunate on long passes. That, of course, is one time perfectly thrown. The best deep ball we've seen all night from either quarterback.
Well, we see what they were looking for on the near side, and here Lancelotti gets another shot at it, and he does make the catch, but it goes for no gain.
Well, we've seen that same pass play time and time again. Buena's ready for it.
At that stage, you might as well just run the football, really. But when you make those short throws and try to use them as runs, they need to be effective to pick up a couple yards.
Yeah, and you need blocking, and that time there was no blocking on the outside. Easy for the second and third level defenders to come up and make that open field tackle.
Corner blitz coming from Castillo on third and long. Nice completion over the middle, and Darling looks like a different quarterback. He's far more confident in the second half.
And now they're going to lose 15 yards. After the catch, I believe it was the receiver that caught the football there. It might have been Trevor Smith, I believe. He went up and pushed the Buena defender down. The Buena defender kind of sold it WWE style down to the turf. But after picking up the first down, it looks like they're going to be marked off for 15. So even though they'll get the first, looks like they'll be backed up and be out of the red zone. And you just can't afford to do that.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, instead of 1st and 10, now you've got 1st and 25.
Really inexcusable. And I think it will still be 1st and 10, Derry. They're just going to lose 15 yards. But still, it's...
Okay, it's not unsportsmanlike.
You can't afford to have something like that happen.
Especially when your offense has struggled to move the football. First quarter, first possession, they moved it there. He said 51 yards. This possession, very similar efficient offense, and now you just lose 15 of the yards you just gained. That's unacceptable. You can't afford those mental errors.
You're down by 17 points, and now you're down another 12 yards. 2nd and 22 upcoming.
And Robert Jansen again coming in there making a play. He's now 2.5 sacks on the night. He's been all over the backfield. And the two quarterbacks, Derry, Maharis, when he's been pressured, has found a way out of it pretty much every time. Darling, on the other hand, has not been able to escape very often.
Well, Kent, this is the one thing you and I kind of talked a little bit during halftime is Buena's offense is far more aggressive than Simi Valley. Simi Valley has just been almost a reactionary defense.
Let's see what Simi tries to put together here on 2nd and long. Play fake. We'll throw underneath to Lancelotti. It was a decently designed play to pick up a few yards at least, but
when you're
overthrown.
When you're 1st and 25, a 2-yard gain is not going to get you much.
Not going to cut it. Now that was 2nd down, Deuce. It's 3rd down and 22.
Yeah, here you have to play to get half of it back. I would be pretty disappointed if they throw that deep pass down to the right side here. Play to pick up 9, 10, 11 yards, set up a 4th, and you're going to go for the 4th. They've gone for it in their own territory. Try to just make this a workable 4th down.
Well, they found something kind of right in the middle of the field, but they're not throwing the middle of the field now.
Go to the bubble screen again, and they do pick up half of it again.
Whoa!
Still on his feet,
Boy,
inside the 20-yard line.
He made that all on his own.
Is Alex Sanders. To me, I thought Sanders had stepped out of bounds. It looked like the Buena defensive back on the near side thought the same, but you got to play till the whistle.
Yep.
He was right near the white chalk, that's for sure, but found a way to stay in, and Sanders has been one of the big bonuses, one of the big spark plugs for this offense here tonight.
Pitch to the left side to Bunker. Trevor Bunker trying to pick up a block from Hopman, and he'll ultimately be wrestled down by Drew Mathis. That looked like it hurt. 7 yards.
Yeah, like I say, wrestled down. That was like a Brock Lesnar-style suplex to the ground on that one. When number 2 gets a hold of you, Drew Mathis, you're not getting away from him, whether you're the quarterback, the running back, a receiver on a slip screen. He has been tremendous tonight. When he puts his hands on you, you're going down.
Oh, yeah, and this is fumbled now on 2nd down by Darling. 3rd down and 10 coming up.
Yeah, that's now another negative play, an unforced error. They've already had 1 personal foul penalty. Now you lose 7 yards on that play. Simi Valley's trying to get back in this game. It would be quite a statement to start the 3rd quarter with a touchdown drive, but you keep having these little screw-ups. 15-yard negative, 7-yard negative, a sack for a lost 12. Those add up. They're almost fortunate to be in the red zone as it is, but now you have to figure, Derry, you have 2 downs to try to work these 10 yards. I don't really see them kicking a field goal. Set something up. What would you do if you're the Simi Valley offense here? You don't need everything on 1 down. The best play that you've had all night has seemingly been anything to Alex Sanders. Is that the guy you go for?
Yeah, I think you either do that or you kind of do a little slant. They really haven't done the slants lately, and that's kind of maybe one thing that Buena isn't expecting, to slant right in the middle of the field.
On 3rd down, Buena has been providing a little bit more of a cushion, I would say. And that's a good point, that perhaps throw underneath, pick up the 1st down. And really, if it's a 4th and 2, 4th and 3 situation, you're going for it. You're not kicking a field goal.
Absolutely.
Just bringing you up to speed on some of the other scores around the region. Burroughs trailing Calabasas 19-12. Well done from the Coyotes so far. Grace Brethren is trailing 14-7 against Heritage, a surprise. Oxnard 8, Quartz Hill 6. 18-6 Santa Paula over Wainimi. Moore Park 21, Palos Verdes 3. Saugus 14, Newbury Park 13. Flushed is Darling, looking to make a throw on the run to the back of the end zone. And this time, Lancelotti hauls it in. Touchdown, Pioneers. He makes amends for the drop earlier and makes a great grab as he slammed out of bounds. Touchdown, Simi. They can pull within 10.
Great throw, nice reception. Lancelotti gave one away earlier, as you said, makes amends for it. Perfectly described by you, Danny. And that time, heck of a throw on the run, moving to his right side. Darling put it on the money. The only spot he can put that football that would have resulted in a touchdown. Great 17-yard completion. And now Simi Valley will see, Derry, if their defense can step up and be aggressive. But that's a heck of a start to start this third quarter. Easily the best drive they've had all night.
He was 7 of 9 for 101 yards on that drive.
Because of the penalty, obviously. He picked
penalty
up an extra
and the
20
sack.
yards.
And
Wow.
the sack.
101 yards on this touchdown drive. What a statement made by Tanner Darling. And again, this is a streaky team. The home crowd is really behind them. 3 and out is exactly what Simi needs at this point.
Well, this could really turn things around for Simi for the season. I mean, to gain a little bit of confidence. They're now kind of like
defensively, though.
They're now a pass setting up the run type of offense, which could work.
Yeah, you would hope that would set up the run. And going forward, let's be serious here. Buena's offense is probably not just going to just falter here anytime soon. They're moving it. So if you are Simi Valley, you need to be able to establish that run. That was a heck of an effort, 101 yards passing on that possession, but they need to still bring that running game into it for sure.
Here's Tennyson. Fumbles the football, it's loose. And I think Simi has it, and they do. 1st and 10 Pioneers inside the 20. 5 minutes into the second half, and this game has been turned on its head. Simi Valley can pull within a score.
One way to keep the offense from scoring is to not let the offense take the field. Great job by the Simi special teams unit. Derry and I were speaking off the air there at halftime, and I said the one way they might get back into this, they have to just win that turnover margin going away. Finally, they forced a turnover, and that was huge. Great field position in the red zone.
And now what will Darling and Simi do? Play fake, throwing up to the end zone. Man's open, but it's intercepted by Moises Vargas. Vargas will bring this out. He works his way back to the 15-yard line. Penalty flag down, but it came in right at the end of the play. He just laid it up for Luke Ott. And Vargas hauled that one in, and there's an injury on the near side to a Buena player. The Simi training staff went straight over. I believe to the interceptor. We'll confirm for you in a minute once we see his number and let you know who was hurt.
Yeah, it could be. I guess we'll find that out here in a moment. And in terms of just breaking down that play, first down, they try to go with the quick change, hit him quickly, try to get back in this game with a touchdown. And we've wondered why they maybe don't throw the ball anywhere but the right side. That time, poor decision. Darling threw it over the middle, easily intercepted, and now it's at least good. Vargas is back up, running off the field. Appears to be all right. Great interception by Vargas. We're happy he's running off the field and it's not a serious injury.
I think the play was a good call. He just had too much air under it. There was no zip to the throw.
This is a third-year starter. This is a potential all-county selection in Vargas. I think you can't take away that from him because it looked like Ott was open initially, and Vargas just broke to the ball more quickly.
Well, there's too much air to it, allowed him to get back in there. He was open. I mean, it was a good call by the Simi offense.
But with 6:47 remaining, there's a couple penalties. I think one will be assessed on the hit, and one may be assessed for an illegal block against Buena. Again, that is all speculation and hearsay. By the way, big game coming up tomorrow for Oaks Christian. The Loch Lauren Ladine will be down in Oceanside for that one. Quartz Hill's gone in front of Oxnard with 2:55 left in the third, 13-8. Boy, the Yellow Jackets really want to win that one. Grace and Heritage are now tied at 14. 26-6, Santa Paula is leading Hueneme. Where that really is a major setback for the Pioneers. I think you're right. The call was right. The throw, the read was right, but the ball wasn't.
Yeah, again, and maybe there was something to why the coaches were trying to throw everything down the right side. We've seen Darling throw some good balls there. Maybe he's not as effective throwing on his left and reading the defense going down the middle, because you're right, the receiver was there. I believe you said Ott was the intended target. You put that on the money, it's 24-20, 24-21. Instead, Vargas was able to rip it away, too much air under it, and that's a huge letdown for Simi Valley, Danny, because this team all of a sudden, they score a touchdown. They get the turnover. They're in the red zone. You're thinking they're going to get within a score here, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. Now, finally, we see this Buena offense back out on the field, and this Simi defense has a lot to prove, because in the last 4 times they took the field, every possession the Bulldogs got points. 7, 7, 7, and 3. Now this defense has to step up, just as a special teams unit and the offense have done so far this quarter.
Well, Simi was always going to have to make a stop defensively. Whether they scored on that, fumble on the ensuing kickoff after a touchdown or not, they were going to have to make plays defensively. And here we go. They just were, as you would have thought they would have been 2 plays ago, with the defense needing to make a big stand. 6:47 to go, first down and 10 for Buena. Dropping back to throws Mijares. Really nowhere to go. And
good pressure by the defense.
Complete near side.
This is what we were talking about. Let's make something happen on defense. And Simi put some really good pressure on Mijares, made him try to get out of the pocket.
Yeah, that's probably the first time all night Mijares has just been backed up and the pocket has been extended. So often he's been able to step into his throws, or he takes off running laterally and finds a receiver. That time he just drifted back and back and back, and before you knew it, that was a tough throw and a great coverage by the cornerback on the outside. One of the better defensive plays we've seen so far in these last 4 or 5 possessions by the Pioneers.
Mijares under center, 4-man rush, throws right in the middle of the field, and that's complete to number 18, Andrew Burgum. Burgum's been a good, 3rd or 4th option. Buena really flexing their muscle in terms of using multiple backs and a few different receivers.
Yeah, they've had the 35-yard reception by Gaitan, and then you look at Burgum's now with a few catches. Belling, of course, the number 1 option, and Sagendorf and Rocha have clearly been involved too. All 5 of those guys have made a statement. We haven't seen Michael Page yet on the receiving end, but that H-back, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out of the backfield, maybe in an I formation, you shift him out on a wheel route and try to catch this defense off guard. On
3rd and 3, inside pass to Belling. Nice block as Belling moves up to the 40, working his way outside, and he's tackled from behind after picking up a first down. Good gain for Belling, 14 yards, and Buena moves the chains.
And his vision, when he gets the ball in his hands, he looks like a running back. One cut, takes it upfield, lowers his shoulders, really has that, what coaches want out of their running backs. Get that pad level low, don't stay high, and that was a really nice play. That's the 2nd or 3rd time tonight we've seen Belling catch one in the zone with momentum and then take it for a first down. That's an easy pitch and catch there. Mijares, after struggling a couple plays ago when the defense stepped up for Simi, these last couple plays he's been on.
Inside handoff, this time to Gaitan. And Gaitan works his way to midfield. I'll ask this question, Derry. Right after Buena will have an opportunity to cross midfield. I think they've been in Simi Valley territory on every drive this game.
They have, yes.
That's a telling statistic. And again, even if you can't convert after that hugely beneficial turnover, you're going to have to make a stop anyway, and Simi's just been unable to do that.
And they've put the pressure on the defense. They keep putting the pressure on the defense, and they've gotten enough breaks. They've found enough plays in the seam to make it happen.
Gaitan crosses midfield, and that makes it official that Buena's been in Simi territory every drive of this game. Red Mountain with another touchdown drive. They lead Westlake 21-11 with 3:22 to go in the 3rd quarter. Certainly not what the loyal Westlake fans want to see, and not what Tony Henny wants to put together in his first home game. Great stats at the half for Calabasas quarterback Gebbia, 13 to 25, 233 yards passing at the break. Mijares completes near side. Certainly hasn't been as spectacular, but a nice catch by Sagendorf, and Mijares has had a great game.
Yeah, he's looking like a senior. This is what you'd want out of a senior quarterback. Good vision, nice throws, and then on top of it, when a pocket's broken down, when he's had to just take off, he's picked up positive yards. Has really only been sacked for a big chunk loss maybe twice all game, and those were not his fault on either play. Just a very efficient, effective game so far from Mijares, and he has good weapons around him. The offensive line's been stout, and all the receivers, and of course Gaitan, have been very good.
I think for every time he's been sacked as well, there's probably two where he's avoided a sack and made a smart play. Hasn't always been a big gain or a hugely positive play, but he's made a smart senior play.
Anytime you're not turning the ball over and you're not having negative plays, any coach can live with a quarterback like that. If you're the type of quarterback that you live to fight another day, you might maybe step out of bounds rather than getting hit, or you just pick up the 1 or 2 yard gain, so be it.
Two wide receivers to the far side, two stacked to the near. Rocha and Burgum on this near side. Looking that way is Mijares.
Oh,
He hits Burgum.
beautiful pass.
And Burgum makes it all the way down to the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Buena Bulldogs. They're knocking on the door again.
What a great formation there. You're right. Stacked to the left. You have twins out on the right, and then simply put, you sort of run a deep slant and then a quick slant, and perfectly timed, put it right on the money. And Burgum is really effective there, whether it's him, Rocha, any of those guys. You look for those weapons. That time perfect route, perfect execution, great throw from Mijares.
Sagendorf on the sweep to the right side. It's just funny the way we've seen at all levels of the game, that play really just doesn't work much anymore, whether it's in college. It's never really worked in the NFL. But at the collegiate level, at the high school level, there's just too much speed on the field defensively.
Yeah, and you need like a Reggie Bush caliber type of guy, or when DeAnthony Thomas was up at Oregon, some guy that just can turn on the jets, run basically sub 4-4. And then also you need good blocking on the edge too. And that time there were 4 Simi Valley defenders at the point of attack ready to tackle the ball carrier in Sanendorf.
Gaitan brushed back. Solid defensive play by Jack Henderson. Henderson stuffed him right at the line of scrimmage.
And here we go, Derry. It's 3rd and long. They've been not the most aggressive defense all night. This, I think you have to roll the dice here, come with some aggression. And if they beat you, so be it. But you can't just sit back and hopefully make your defense step up in zone and make a play. I think you really just need to come after the quarterback here.
Well, the defense has made 2 good plays back-to-back under pressure.
They need a third, trailing by 10. Tough snap for Mijares. He'll throw toward the end zone. Penalty flag down. The intended target, Rocha, reached his right arm out to try and catch the ball. It looked like his left was being held. You don't seem to agree, Kent?
Well, it's hard to say. I think both guys were fighting for the football, and we always see when that happens, whether it's high school, college, pro, they generally give the advantage to the offense. But that time it looked like a little bit of hand fighting on both ends. I mean, maybe replay or something like that. You would
when you're the guy reaching, you're the guy that gets the flag.
Yeah,
that's true.
And generally that's the defensive back.
No matter what the other guy does, if you're the guy reaching, you get the call.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, though. I think it was fairly good coverage, but just unfortunate.
But hey, I guess they must have waved it off.
Well, I think for pass interference at the high school level, it's only half the distance to the goal.
But there's no first down.
That's exactly. It's no automatic first down. And Buena throws it underneath to Belling. There's your first down and a little bit more. But the Bulldogs wind up just short of the goal line. I remember from last year, that's a quirky high school rule, which in some cases I think could be adopted maybe at the next level. I don't think we'd see it in the NFL, obviously, with the way they favor the pass. It is now 1st and goal from the 1. Handoff, Gaitan, and Gaitan is on his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Bulldogs. They can restore their 17-point lead pending an extra point. It's all Buena with 13 and a half to go, 30-14.
Yeah, it's a good rush there. You take advantage of the penalty. you go with your two best playmakers on offense right at the moment. Your best pass catcher in Belling, another screen, gets the first down, and then the following play you hammer it home with Juan Gaitan, their top running back. That's good offense, great coaching. Put the ball in your playmakers' hands, let them make the plays, and now, pending a PAT, they're going to be back to the same level it was at the break, which is a 17-point lead.
And you've pretty much used up the whole third quarter.
You know Coach Gutierrez loves that. There's a Simi Valley player down on the ground, FYI, hence a little bit of a delay. We hope he's okay.
It's eaten up about 6 minutes on this drive, and if they don't score a point, even if they hadn't scored, it would have been a big positive.
And now you look at it, 1 minute left in the third quarter, basically. Now this puts so much pressure on the Simi Valley offense, which has been one-dimensional. Fortunately for them, their one dimension has been passing, which when you're down 16-17, you'd rather have the ability to pass as opposed to just being able to run. But they need to play pretty much a flawless game for the rest of the game, whether it's on offense, special teams, or defense, because Buena's offense now, 5 possessions, 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal. The only time they didn't score was after a special teams fumble. So the offense has been sharp throughout second, third quarter. And going forward, I have faith Simi Valley will score again, but the question is, can they stop Buena? I'm not so sure they can.
Well, first of all, they haven't kept them out of their own territory the entire night. Let's look ahead to next week's game, Ventura and Rio Mesa on September 11th. Friday night from 6:50 p.m. as Julian Escobar is limping off the field with help of a team trainer. Ventura leading Agora 21-14, 5:09 to go in the third quarter. And Rio Mesa leads San Marcos 48-0 in the third quarter. I think that's going to be a good one next week.
It will be. From what I understand, Ventura may not have had its best game last week. They kind of struggled a little bit, and they've kind of ironed out some of the problems they had, and they're right back on track. And Rio Mesa was a team that really kind of came on pretty good last season.
No question, Jim Bittner, the head coach. No, not that Jim Bittner, his son. And Buena will now attempt the PAT with a chance to make it 31-14. And the kick is no good. He couldn't even get it away. Tackled on the play was Brian Yanez, the holder. So from Simi's point of view, it is only a 2-score game.
Yeah, that's big in that aspect. It's still 16. Now you score touchdowns, you start going for 2, and you see where you lie. If you can get a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, you're down 1 score. That's been really the only positive outside of, well, special teams have actually been good for Simi this quarter. If you look at it, forced a fumble, got the turnover, and then that time being able to get the field goal attempt to not be good.
I'm not sure we'll see it in this game, but there's an issue. I know you're a big football guy, Kent, at all levels. There's an issue that I want to discuss with you one of these games later in the season. If we have a shootout, a team scores a touchdown, pending extra point, to make it an 8-point game, right? Let's just say you have that opportunity. I, as a coach, would think about going for 2 if there's just a few minutes left, instead of forcing the other team with a touchdown to go for 2 to tie it. Push for that 9-point lead. I don't think we see that enough, and I'm a big believer in sealing games late, because frequently you'll see team has a great drive, takes it 80 yards downfield, boom, 2-point conversion's almost a certainty because they have the confidence after a long drive. That's something I want to see more in the game.
It would be intriguing for sure, because if you look at it that way, if you're in a shootout, especially when both offenses are just trading blows, yeah, put the other team away would certainly be worth it. Plus, if you miss it, you're only up 7. It's not the worst thing in the world. That would be intriguing. I don't think most coaches, we know they're pretty conservative, but there might be a few that would at least consider that or tinker with that, just because, yeah, if you can ice the game, you're up with 2 minutes left, you get up 9, it's pretty much game over.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the NFL.
Yeah.
This year. This will be kind of maybe a game plan to see what happens down the line in college and high school.
It's going to be a big change, I think.
And I feel like most coaches, and I don't mean to offend kickers or punters. My older brother was a kicker punter for the University of Miami. Coaches don't want to rely on them as much as the other players on the field. So in general, the less your kickers and punters are out there, probably the head coaches feel a little bit safer for the most part.
Quartz Hill took a 13-8 lead over Oxnard to the fourth quarter. The Yellow Jackets love that final period of play, don't they? As they've scored 15 points in the first 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the quarter. Oxnard on the season has 11 points in the first 6 quarters total, and now in the fourth quarter of 2 games has 28. Did I do the math correctly? I think I did. Here's a handoff to the right side. Picking up a decent chunk of yardage is Alex Sanders. It's actually Luke Moore. Sorry about that. I thought it was 21, 24. And the Pioneers, all of a sudden, are nearly on the Buena half of the field. Not so fast. That Buena secondary is pretty nasty, too. I know we give the D-line a lot of credit, but a nice tackle in the open field.
Yeah, that time Ricky Lopez came up, made the play on the outside, and you're 2nd and 1.5. Now you're facing 3rd and 5. That's one of those ones, not necessarily a poor call, just great defensive play, great hustle from that Buena secondary.
Blitz coming from Mason Belling. Darling will dump it off right along the near side, and that's good for a first down. Passes complete to Cole Hopman, and that brings to a close the third quarter of play. It's still within reach for Simi Valley. It's a 16-point game. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion would bring them within a score. We will take a short break here on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, 30-14. Back live on the VCS Preps Game of the Week. Danny Page, Deuce Eads, and Kent Brown. Will Cowan will be joining us on the sideline next week as Ventura hosts Rio Mesa. First down and 10 from the 46.
Buena, a bit of sort of confusion. They just had 2 guys just run on the field.
12 defenders, do they? No. Pass is intercept. No, it looked like it was intercepted for a second. In and out of the hands of the intended target, Sanders. And then Justin Rios rolled over with the ball in his grasp, and it looked like he just dropped it. It just popped out as he came back up.
Yeah, that could have been an interception, which would have been devastating for Simi, especially on first down. That's one thing they can't do right now. They need points, need to play perfect, but can't afford anything bad on first or second down.
Darling rolling left. That pass is complete to Sanders again, and Sanders has a first down this time out.
Well, that's one thing he has really done well. When he's rolled out, he has found somebody.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit, and this is one of the things I thought was funny in talking to Ryan Taggart. Reminds me a little bit of the quarterback across town, Shimbato, who's a senior now for Royal, by the way. He also wears number 22. Those two will play in October. Fumbled, and he just falls on it, does Darling.
That's a fortunate hop, because that could go one of many ways, and a lot of times the quarterback doesn't hop right on that. It's only a loss of 3 on first down, not the most devastating thing in the world, but slipped out of his hand, plain and simple. You cannot allow the other team, you can't allow Buena at this point to take over with any sort of turnover. So fortunate that hopped right back into the hands of Darling.
Darling, backside block, throws this for the end zone. And it's caught.
And a flag.
No, it's incomplete, but the penalty flag is down against Buena. I thought it was hauled in by Simi. Another great opportunity.
Well, that was a good pass.
With Hauptmann open. Should be run off for a pass interference penalty and a first down for Simi Valley. The next best thing.
They've tested the secondary in the second half. The first half, there were 1 or 2 down the sideline. We saw Castillo come up and make the play. In this second half, there's been no doubt about it. The coaching staff has faith that Darling can distribute the ball downfield. That time, he put it right on the money, almost caught, but nonetheless, the 15-yard penalty, and now you're inching closer. And with Darling's arm and with a lot of time left, this offense all of a sudden is maybe trying to put some of the pressure on Buena.
Well, Buena's just kind of a little confused and it's on the line.
4 wideouts were set to the near side of diamond formation. They throw the slant to the opposite side. It's a 9-yard gain.
On schedule.
Confuse anybody, I think.
On schedule, you're second and short now. You can run it here, you can pass it, or use Darling's ability to get the ball out of the pocket and then the run-pass threat.
Except they toss it to the corner, a little post-corner route. Overthrown. I guess on second and short, you have the opportunity to take a shot.
Yeah, and he also led the receiver enough that it was either going to be his guy to catch it or nobody. That's not a bad pass at that point. You put it in space and you hope your receiver can run under it. The worst thing you want to do is leave it short and, like what happened earlier, have a defensive back run underneath it and pick it off.
Well, you have 2 plays here, don't you, to pick up the first down. Only need 1. Luke Moore has a first down to the 7-yard line. First and goal coming up for Simi. A lot of scores coming into us here, by the way, and after the conclusion of this drive, we will bring them to you.
Big few downs here. First and goal, have to get a touchdown if you're Simi Valley. Get the crowd back into this. Get your defense motivated and say, hey, if you get us a stop, we're going to go down and maybe tie this thing up.
Darling throwing for the corner, and it's just beyond the reach of Alex Sanders. He's really been the go-to guy on this drive and throughout stages of this second half.
Justin Rios comes in, puts the pressure on Darling, gives him a nice hit, and then, which I think he should do, just sort of leave him on the ground and say, you can get up on your own right now. I'm going to go back with my defense. That's the first, maybe second time all possession we've really seen one of those front 7 guys for Buena hit the quarterback.
A quick toss to the near side. Hopman, who hops his way down to the 2. He just slipped as he evaded a Buena defender. It's 3rd and goal from the 2.
Here's the dilemma, Derry. You're now facing short yardage. You can pass the ball. You haven't shown the ability to run it. You have 2 downs to go. I don't know. Do you run the football here and risk it, or do you stick with what you know, which is your passing quarterback?
Well, they've got the wide side of the field where I would say they're probably going to throw it.
No, it's a handoff to Moore, and Luke Moore into the end zone. Touchdown Pioneers. 30-20. But this is the key play coming up. They have to make Buena pay for the missed PAT. Simi's going for 2, and they can pull within a touchdown.
Great rush, good offensive line blocking that time. Just pretty much you put a hat on a hat. You say we need 2 yards. Moore bulldozes his way in, and now the big 2-point conversion attempt.
5 wide, it's 4 to the far side again. Maybe a designed quarterback draw. Darling, flush, throws to the back of the end zone, and it's caught. Hopman this time, 30-22, and the Pioneers are within a touchdown.
With a lot of time left. 10:02 left.
But again, they have to get a stop. And this is where Tim Gutierrez and this Buena offense, in my mind, are significantly capable of a 5, 6, 7-minute drive to just kill this game off.
Yeah, there's so much confidence for this team. Maharis has been sharp throughout. Last 5 possessions, all 5 ended in a score, 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal. You just go with what's working for you. But like Derry mentioned early in the 3rd quarter, will there be more aggression by this defense? Can Simi Valley find a way to hit Maharis, get him to the ground, and get them off schedule? You can get it 2nd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8. All of a sudden, you put so much pressure on this Buena offense. But like you said, Danny, if it's 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2, first down, they'll wind this clock all the way down to under 4 minutes left and probably find their way either in the end zone or tack on 3.
Well, I think we're going to learn a lot about Buena's real ability to run the football here and run the ball consistently. I just want to follow up on last week's game a little bit, Oxnard and Westlake, and this just an interesting statistic regarding Oxnard. First of all, in the 4th quarter, Westlake is trailing Red Mountain from Arizona 21-11. Oxnard, in the first 3 quarters of their last 2 games, scored a combined 11 points. The Jackets now lead Quartz Hill 28-13, which means in 1.5 fourth quarters, if you will, they've scored 34 points. 11 points in the first 3 quarters of games, but 34 in the fourth.
Showing ability to finish at that point, plus a lot of times strength, coaches, things like that. You wear out, they're clearly peaking at the right time.
Throwing on first down, Mijares, and it's dropped by Gaitan. You at least want to catch that and keep the clock running.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a big gain, but it would have kept 30 seconds, 40 seconds off the clock, which at this point, not only is the scoreboard your enemy if you're Simi Valley, the clock still becomes your enemy. You need to get a stop, but clearly, even if Buena goes 6 minutes here and they don't score, that still puts so much pressure on Simi.
Let's see what Simi dials up defensively on second down. Buena will go 4 wide with Mijares under center. Long drop, he'll throw again, and this time it is complete. The ball's fumbled, and it's surely picked up by a Pioneer.
It's whether they rule it's incomplete or fumble.
No, it is a fumble. First and 10, Simi Valley on the 30-yard line.
Bergen fumbled, and then Simi Valley came in and cleaned it up. The turnover margin has shifted towards the Pioneers here in the second half, and now everything going the way of the maroon and gold.
It really seemed like Buena has been in control this entire time. The missed PAT, I have to go back to, was absolutely massive. For Buena, it's also their second fumble of this second half. Simi hasn't really turned the ball over in the traditional sense. They'll pitch on the reverse and throw back to Darling, who just heaves it to the end zone. Hoffman catches it. Touchdown, Simi Valley.
Gosh.
What a play! With 2 errant pitches that ultimately wind up with Darling. He heaves it 30 yards into the end zone. Touchdown, Pioneers. I have to say that might be the worst flea flicker I've ever seen, but it worked out.
It was slowly developed, but it ended up being a great throw. And as he was getting a defender hitting him, Tanner Darling, he threw that about 45 yards in the air, and then a great catch by Hopman. What a terrific play.
Here we go again with 4 to the far side. This time it's a design QB sneak, and he dives in. 30-30 with 9:34 to go. Back-to-back touchdowns from the Pioneers.
Wow. Boy, this game changed in a hurry.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago we were saying, can they get a stop? Can they somehow keep pace and find a way to get back in this game? You mentioned, Danny, you missed the PAT, keeps them within 2 scores. Now all of a sudden locked up at 30, 9.5 minutes left. I said before the game I thought both teams would score over 35. You're probably going to need that to have any chance to win this one.
Well, mind you that 29 seconds ago, in terms of clock time, Simi was down by 2 touchdowns. It's a tie game. But even as we go back further, Buena scored just 4 minutes and 2 seconds ago and had a chance to make it a 17-point game. The missed PAT really did provide this Simi team some life, and they are living certainly here at Bob Jacob Memorial Stadium. Penalty flag down, and Buena will likely start back at about their own 10-yard line with 9:25 to go. And now this Buena offense needs to get dialed in again and get back to what staked them out to a 16-point lead.
Boy, does this remind you of the Royal Simi game that we had a couple years ago?
It's the only other time we've been here, I think. And really, there's something about this stadium, isn't it?
And how about the throw, though? That was about 50 yards in the air. They started at the 30, double reverse, and then all of a sudden, you have the throw by Darling. He's at about the 42, 43-yard line, and then catches in the back of the end zone by Hopman. He's shown a cannon this half. We thought in the first half they probably went deep a bit too much down the right side, and Castillo was there making plays. Here in the second half, Darian Danny, his ability to throw the ball, especially on the run, has been tremendous.
He's 15 of 25 for 188 yards.
When you're
this half.
when you're as athletic as he is, he's just going to keep going for it, you know. And we saw that with his sort of Superman dive there on the 2-point conversion. Gaitan runs for 2 yards. You almost don't believe it when you look at the scoreboard, and this is a tie game.
And 9 minutes left. Yeah, it just seems like a while ago we were talking about, well, in the fourth quarter they'll have to play perfect ball just to get back in it. They've already locked it up and tied the game.
Let's see what Maharis can do on second down. Plenty of time to throw. Tosses over to the far side of the field. It's one of his lead targets. Grayson Rocha again. Really sure-handed junior, 6'1", 172 pounds.
Here you go, 3rd and medium, about 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. If they can get them 3 and out and get off the field, you know this offense has some confidence right now. And the defense, although they haven't gotten off the field much this game, they did just force a turnover. They can go back-to-back possessions, hold Buena to 0. They're doing their job.
As we said coming in, this is a streaky Simi team. Even their coaching staff knew it. And Mijares throwing. Big grab on the far side on 3rd down and long. Mason Belling complete to the 26. Yeah, I shouldn't say 3rd and long. 3rd and crucial. Go ahead.
3rd and crucial, and when you need somebody to dial up a number on 3rd down, you go to 22 if it's through the air. And Belling stepped up there, big-time reception. And he needed it. It's been an offense lately this entire quarter, or at least the early portion of this quarter, that hasn't had that ability. Belling steps up when need be. You're going to see a lot of Gaitan. You're going to see a lot of Belling. Those are their 2 safest bets.
Screen pass, and it's overthrown beyond the reach of Gaitan. Ventura's lead against Agora cut to 28-20. Moore Park up 28-6 over Palos Verdes. Rio Mesa 69-0 over San Marcos. 28-11, it looks like Red Mountain will defeat Westlake. Newberry Park up 26-14 on Saugus, by the way. And Royal leads Golden Valley 24-13. Oak Park looking to go 2-0 after going winless a year ago. They lead Nordhoff 13-3. 2nd and 10, Mijares dumps it down to Gaitan. He's bowled over eventually by Cole Benishek.
Nice open field tackle that time by Benishek. Gaitan has shown the ability to make guys miss tonight. Second half's been relatively quiet, though, for Gaitan. He had 49 rushing yards in the first half, had the big 35-yard reception. This half really hasn't done a whole lot.
Not a great omen going into a 3rd down. Mijares had to tie his shoelace.
Unless you're Denard Robinson, that's usually not a positive.
Belling, the lone receiver to the near side. One-on-one coverage as well. Mijares looks the other way. Penalty flag thrown. Do you think that's a good call?
That
it looked like the
was.
DB got there just early.
He did. That time, coming from Simi Valley, Kyle Shinagawa, who made a big play earlier in the game, he did. He got there early. He bumped the receiver. And I thought for a second I might not see the yellow flag come out. Those are ones you sometimes get away with it, but that was interference. That's the right call.
A long penalty that takes Buena out to the 47-yard line. Couple turnovers in the second half for the Bulldogs. And again, the fumble on the previous drive. But if Buena crosses midfield, they will have crossed into Simi territory on every drive but one this game.
And remember, this possession started with 9:34 remaining in the game. Let's see where this clock goes as its possession builds.
Well, that penalty could be huge.
Going toward the end zone for Belling, and he drops it. Penalty flag down in the Buena backfield, but that was an outstanding throw for Mijares.
Holding.
Holding against Buena, wouldn't have stood anyway. Bulldogs will be backed up at least another 10 yards.
Well, that's like a 14-yard loss because it's from the spot of the foul.
Ouch. As you see in the bottom right corner, 6:53 remaining. Grace Brethren's taking the lead on Heritage, 21-14. Simi student section Simi Swag crew, I don't know, the Maroon Mob. I've seen a couple names.
And I'm impressed with the band, too. The band's pretty close to us. They've had some good chants. Well done in terms of music. They've been terrific.
Second and long. Mijares. Wide open over the middle. Sagendorf at the 45. He's got the first down. And just like that, a fist bump from the Buena offensive coordinator. A 27-yard gain. 1st and 10 Bulldogs. What a big play.
Put it on the money, and that time, Rocha, one of the many receivers on this team, is finding plays. Or was it Sagendorf? One of those inside receivers made the play, and that looks more like what the offense was in the first half. You have those receivers, whether it's Belling, Sagendorf, Rocha, Pregame, all of them have been able to take advantage of the soft zone by the Pioneers.
Screen pass tipped. Oh, and almost picked off.
That was close.
Popped up in the air, and that's happened a couple times for Mijares. Brandon Frey, a diving attempt to haul it in, and he just couldn't get there. The pendulum of this game is just swinging back and forth.
And Luke Ott came there with the tip and so close to being deflected into the hands of one of his defenders. If that goes, they have the ball at midfield, 6 minutes left, with all the offense confidence you can want. But sometimes you need a break or two. Simi had their big break on 4th down in the first half. Maybe that's the break that Buena gets here in the second half.
Mijares will dump it down to Gaitan again, who has yet to go down. Probably would have been a good idea to do so on the first time around. He picks up 3 yards. One thing Mijares is doing really well is finding his second and third options. He reads the field well, as he should, having started games in now his 3rd season.
Yeah, he's been good, and now this clock under 6 minutes, continuing to roll. 3rd down, they need to get to the 30. They're at the 37, so 3rd and 7. This is where, if you're Buena, you want this. You know if you pick up 4 or 5 here, you're going to go for 4. That was, as you said, a good decision. Mijares all night has made, relatively speaking, good decisions.
See what he does on 3rd down. What a play from Belling into the end zone. Touchdown Bulldogs. 37 yards. Kent, he almost faked out the coverage and then saw the ball into his hands inside the 20. 36-30 Bulldogs.
Great throw. Nice catch running underneath it and Belling. And that's what Buena needed to do. You mentioned last possession. What are we going to learn from this Buena offense? They fumbled, turned it over. This time, all the pressure on the shoulders of the quarterback, and Mijares steps up, finds his top receiver. 3rd and 7, you pick up 37. Very impressive. And now the pressure goes back. You mentioned the pendulum swings. It swings back to the home team and Simi Valley.
We had to point out one important element, which was that PAT was made. I think the momentum in the game swung a little bit on an unconverted PAT from the Bulldogs earlier. 37-30 goes back to Simi Valley, but they have plenty of time. Deuce, what do you make of that drive and Buena jumping back in front?
Well executed by Mijares. I mean, he just made all the right calls. You know, that big pass interference play really kind of helped move that along. It got them to midfield where they kind of breathe a little bit.
Yeah, you take advantage of other teams' miscues. That's one thing that I think in any level of any sport, the other team makes a mistake, you have to capitalize on that, and that's what Buena ultimately did. But both quarterbacks in the second half, Derry, they've shown the ability to throw the ball deep and really have cannons. I like what I've seen out of Mijares throughout. Darling has made a few mistakes, but for the most part has been really effective the second half. You mentioned he's closing in on 200 yards here in the second half, and you have to think in this possession, the way this offense is moving, he might be over 200 in this half very quickly.
Short kick, return beyond the 30, out of bounds at the 33-yard line. I'm going to continue with this storyline here. Oxnard has scored again. John Mack's team leads Quartz Hill 35-13. It's an absolute blowout. The Jackets with 41 points in the fourth quarter in the last 2 games.
How about this? You had a Yellow Jackets team last night in college football put up 34 points in a quarter. That's Georgia Tech. And now tonight you have Oxnard lighting up the fourth quarter. And that's, so maybe it's just a Yellow Jackets type of weekend. You're wearing a yellow jacket as well. So how many points are you going to score here? You need to do something.
Huge hit from the defensive back on this side. Josh Davila who leveled the receiver, really blindsided the player, and no penalty flag thrown, which I understand, but that looked like it hurt. The Buena sideline's pumped up.
Yeah, it's a clean hit. It's unfortunate that there's a player down. You hope that he's all right, but sometimes, with football, that is one thing that happens. You can get your clock cleaned even if it's not a dirty hit, and that time left too much air under the ball, and when you don't put it crisp on the money like that, sometimes the receiver's left in a tough position. We saw earlier a receiver really take a blow over the middle in his back. This time, nice shot as well. You hope that it's not a serious injury.
5:24 remaining. Seems like the clock moves so quickly when Buena has the ball, but so slow when Simi does. Just perception, not reality. Newberry Park's up on Saugus 26-14 in the fourth. Kel Riddick with a touchdown. Grace leads 28-14 in the third. Oxnard 35-13. Camarillo 34-14 over defending Northern Division champion Paso Robles. I think that's a real statement of intent by Jake Constantine, the senior quarterback, on an emotional night. I tell you, I think we had it last year, Derry. Camarillo St. Bonaventure. That might not be a game to sleep on in the midseason. It could be a good one.
Ventura County teams have not got much respect in the section rankings so far at this point. I think, outside of the Calabasas and Grace Brethren, I think there's been some results in the last couple of weeks, which is going to really kind of help area causes.
Well, I will say this Calabasas ball team is losing to Burbank Burroughs. 25-19.
Wow.
That's surprising.
And the receiver getting up for Simi Valley, Cole Hopman, of course, we've seen him have some big catches here, including the last touchdown brought in. So he walked off on his own accord. He's near the sideline now. Hopefully he'll be back in the game. But he's definitely one of their weapons that has shined here in the second half. You hope he's out there quickly.
2nd and 10 in the fourth quarter. A pump fake. And that's overthrown as well, just beyond the reach of number 24, Luke Moore.
And that time it was in between two receivers. Sanders cutting towards the hash, and then Moore coming out of the backfield. Not a well-thrown ball by Darling. And now you have to think, if you've gone for fourth down all night, you're probably going to go for fourth down here. So you don't necessarily need all 11 here on third down.
Blitz coming from Belling. Darling rolls to his way, and he throws it right to a Buena defensive back. Josh Davila with the pick. He's had 2 big plays on this drive. And Buena takes over in Simi territory. 1st and 10 from the 48 with 5:14 to go. A score should seal it.
Yeah, that's a couple poorly thrown balls on back-to-back plays by Darling. And Davila just had the hit on Hopman. Now he comes up with the big-time interception. And we've seen the secondary tonight. 3 guys really stand out. You've obviously had the big play by Vargas with the interception. Castillo's been lights out on one corner, and now making a play as Davila. 3 of the 4 guys in that secondary really stepping up, making big plays here tonight. Good job, Buena. Needed a score. They needed a stop. They've gotten both. Now all the pressure on the Pioneers.
Bubble screen to Belling, who just caught that big touchdown pass, and he
Fumble.
fumbles the
Looked
football.
like Simi got it.
And Simi picks it up. Turnovers on back-to-back plays for the second time this half. Simi is back in business. It's Buena's 3rd fumble in the last 20 minutes.
And you have to think the one thing that Coach Gutierrez probably told his bunch is hang on to the football. And that's the one thing that Belling couldn't do. And he's a sure-handed guy as you can hope to have the ball. Great play by the Simi Valley defense. It's not like he fumbled untouched. Big-time hit, and then a good recovery there. Just as we thought Buena might be building towards putting this game away, the Pioneers come back and force a turnover.
And now a completion beyond midfield. First down for Simi Valley to the 42-yard line.
And the ups and downs in this fourth quarter have just been amazing. 16-point lead, missed extra point. Back-to-back touchdowns, 2-point conversions made, then a touchdown, forcing a turnover, now another turnover, just up and down roller coaster fourth quarter here in Simi Valley. It's been awesome.
And this Simi Valley team just seems to thrive on momentum. They have it now after that Buena turnover, after a turnover of their own. Can Darling make the smart throws, though? Certainly does this time. It's Lancelotti again. Back-to-back plays, back-to-back first downs. They're in business at the Buena 31 with 4:53 left.
Here's a question, though. If you score a touchdown here and they still have 30-plus yards to go, you've already converted 2 two-point conversions. Do you maybe just go for it again and really put the pressure on Buena by putting, you kind of risk losing the game that way, but you could be up a point. They've shown 2 good two-point conversions. Would you risk it again?
Well, the game that Derry referenced, Kent, was probably maybe the best game we've ever done in the 5 years here, he and I, on the VCS Preps Game of the Week. Simi and crosstown rival Royal went to double overtime, and Royal went for it after scoring and won, I believe, 51-50. Ill-advised throw, but it skipped up into the hands of Moises Vargas. It'll just be 2nd and 10. So, point being, I would think Ryan Taggart would look at that and say, we remember what happened on that October night 2 seasons ago. Really have to consider going for 2 here. And sometimes it's not a bad idea to go for 2 when you leave yourself a cushion of 2.5, 3 minutes to make up for a missed 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that's true. Time becomes an issue, too, because if you score with a minute left, you're pretty much nearly giving the game away if you don't get it. But needless to say, they're still 31 yards out at the moment anyways.
We're about 25 yards out at this point. Luke Moore picks up 6.
He's been the more powerful runner tonight. At this point, maybe Bunker just still isn't healthy, but Luke Moore has been pretty effective here in the second half in comparison to what they had in the first half when realistically the running game was non-existent.
Remember Drew Moore a year ago, 1,000 yards, 1,006, 20 touchdowns. As Simi went to the semifinal in the Western Division, losing to Ventura in a game we had here. Here's Darling. Blitz on the backside, got him.
Well, that's the last thing you want to do, throw the ball away. You got to have a clock in your head and just throw it away.
I believe it's Robert Jansen, number 8, with, 3.5 sacks at this point, and he has had a game.
Yeah, Mathis is in for 2. Jansen now up to 3.5. Those guys
Fourth
have been
down.
all game in the backfield.
4th down and 13 with the clock continuing to run.
I think that's the 9th negative play of the game.
Here's Darling. Can he deliver another miracle on 4th and 13? He does have time. He puts it up over the top. There's a penalty flag down, and it's intercepted by Vargas, but right at the sticks, a penalty flag.
There's another flag on the other side, too, so there's 2 flags on this play.
Do you want to predict this one? I don't know what
Could be a
flags these
holding.
are.
It could be a defensive
I
hold.
think it might have been a defensive hold downfield.
It was thrown deep there. That would seem to be indication.
Yeah, it is a defensive hold, and I believe that should be an automatic first down. It would negate the interception. Again, with defensive pass interference, it's a space where the rule differentiates from the pros.
Looks like it's
and
still
the
going to
collegiate
be
level. It will be 4th down and about 3 still. What a dramatic play and moment in front of us here.
Yeah, 4th and 3, but you have to like the run-pass option of Darling in
4
this
guys
situation.
to the side over here.
Yeah, here's this diamond formation again. In a 3-yard or less setting, we've seen it twice on 2-point conversions. It really gives Darling the option. Looks that way, now looks back to the other side. He's just going to run. Darling trying to get the corner. And he does! I think he did.
Wow.
Nope, it looks like he stepped out a yard short. What a nice defensive play for Buena to force Darling out. It's really a contentious part of the game, Kent, isn't it, when the quarterback or running back or wide receiver, for that matter, dives, but his body's out of bounds as he reaches for it. It's a tough call.
Yeah, good effort all around for the defense to be able to get him out of the pocket, flush him towards the sideline, and then a great second effort. We all assumed there was no way he's going to get it. All of a sudden, Darling's diving for the sticks. The official marks him about 1.5 feet short, and now 3 minutes left. You have to come up with a quick stop here if you're Simi Valley, but what an effort by Darling. But man, great effort as well by the defense to flush him out there. Just that time you needed 3 yards, and the defense stepped up just barely, but they found a way.
We got 2.5. Simi Valley trailing by 7, 3:09 to go. They do have all 3 timeouts. Gaitan loses a couple yards, but the clock will be stopped by Simi. So the Pioneers are, after that stop at least, are going to look to spend their timeouts right away and get the ball back right away.
What did you guys think about that 4th down call? Because clearly you put the diamond formation on the wide side, you give your quarterback a chance to roll out, but maybe on the other hand, he went to the short side. He might have been better off taking off to that wide side with more space. It's hard to say, but it was really one of the only times tonight they've had that sort of play, and it's unfortunate that they couldn't pull it off.
Well, he had to make a quick decision. You just can't sit back there and wait for something to happen on a 4th and 3, and he has enough confidence in himself as a runner that he thought that he could make it, and half a yard short.
A lot of lateral speed there from the linebacker coming over to make the play. I actually, when you have an athletic quarterback at this level, I love a 4 or 5 option type of call on 3rd and short, on 4th and short. You have a couple options to throw to the near side. You can throw to that lone receiver on the far side. You can run up the middle. You can run wide. If you have an athletic player, I think 7, 8, 9 times out of 10 they make the right play in those key situations, and that's a high conversion rate.
And the difference on that was Buena was able to flush him out of the pocket and really disrupt the flow of the offense there.
Gaitan carries for a 1st down. He's brought down at the 36, and once the chains are set, the clock will continue to run. He sort of tripped himself up a little bit even, I think, and the clock will keep moving.
Yeah, stay in bounds, move that clock. That was smart by the running back, Juan Gaitan, to stay in bounds, and now you either force the Pioneers to take another timeout or the clock dwindles down under 2.5.
Remember to catch all the highlights from this game on the VCS Preps post-game extra. It'll be posted over the weekend on VCS Preps. Gaitan will carry. Get a couple yards. Timeout, Simi Valley.
Now you think Coach Gutierrez, the one thing he has to emphasize to his team, hold on to the football. If he didn't do it last possession when there was the fumble, this time it's pretty evident. You tell your running backs, your quarterback, any of the receivers that get these short passes like Belling or Sagendorf, hold on to the football. Do not give them a chance for a short field. Worst case, we put pressure on them and punt deep. But that's really the one thing right now if you're Buena that you just cannot afford is to get that ball stripped again, which would be the 4th lost fumble this half if it somehow does occur.
Huge turnovers from Buena, a missed PAT. If you look at the way they've moved the football, if not for those mistakes, this would be a 3-touchdown game, really. And I think that's what they have to shore up going forward here throughout the rest of the season.
Well, but then, hey, Simi Valley has made some mistakes on their own. The interception in the end zone.
It really has been like for like in some ways in terms of the errors.
I think it's more, Simi Valley's been more aggressive, I think, on both sides of the ball to put themselves back in the game.
Yeah, they have a young defense, but you're right, and you hit the nail right on the head at the half. They have to be more aggressive, and they've been that way the second half for sure. There's no doubt about it. They've been tighter off the line of scrimmage. Their linebackers' run fits have been better. The defensive line has been so much more active. If they can keep that going forward, even after tonight, positive signs go. You lose so many studs last year. That's what you need. First half, they did kind of sit back too much, and Belling and Rocha and those receivers picked them apart. This second half, it just hasn't been that way.
2:26 remaining. Simi Valley's out of timeouts. Buena has 2, by the way. A 1st down for the Bulldogs would all but secure it, really.
3rd and long, though. It's 3rd and 7. Now the dilemma becomes, do you run the ball and then punt if you don't get it and waste another 40-some seconds, or do you go strictly for the win, try to get that pass, pick up 9, 10, 11 yards, and then at this point pretty much salt this game away. It's a tough dilemma, but the way Buena's played all game, defensively and offensively, you have to think they don't go with the conservative call here. They probably try to go for the win, get the first down, and with their receiving options, I wouldn't blame him. I think maybe you give the quarterback Maharis a chance to get out of the pocket and worst case run and keep the clock going, but you have to think they come out here looking for the first down and not be too conservative.
I would imagine
a little
Coach Gutierrez
slant
would throw
right up the
here.
middle, make the receiver have a chance to gain it.
Play fake out of the I formation, dumping it down to an unexpected target for Buena. Michael Page, his first action of the entire game. You called that, Kent, using the H-back in a key situation, and it's a first down that more than likely seals the game for the Dogs.
Yeah, that time Page clearly just basically sat back for a second, came out of the backfield. Nobody read big number 9, the H-back. Simple first down, and Derry, that was not necessarily the quick slant. That's an easy read. That was a super easy read. Just dump the ball off to your big H-back, let him run in space. Perfectly designed. I feel like they were almost waiting for that, and now was the perfect moment to strike that play.
Gaitan ends up scooting his way for a couple. Brushed back, but the clock will continue to run. And that will be the key. The Bulldogs, you'd have to think, will run the ball on each of the next couple plays. And if Simi was going to get the ball back, it'll be certainly inside of a minute.
Yeah, probably under 30 seconds, assuming that Buena doesn't step out of bounds on any of these plays.
No, I think this could be right up the middle.
Yeah, I don't think the Coach Gutierrez will take a shot at this point.
Just hold on to the ball.
2nd and 8, here's Gaitan again. And Gaitan, so close to a first down, ends up a yard short.
I tell you, he hasn't really held that ball high and tight, though. That thing was out there a little bit that could be punched away.
I was thinking the same thing, kid.
That's not necessarily at this point. You might at this point maybe just go for the quarterback sneak here. You're 3rd and about 2. I wouldn't risk really handing it off to Gaitan at this point because if they knock that away, it could be 6 the other way if they pick it up.
Well, you got to hold those both arms.
Yes.
Calabasas up 32-25. Royal on top of Golden Valley 31-20 across town here. Buena up 37-30, 3rd down and 2. Gaitan, first down. Gaitan slides down, and now all Buena has to get right is one snap, and the Bulldogs will walk away 37-30 winners in a thriller out at Bob Jacob Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, the best play a coach wants to see, victory formation, take that quarterback knee and call it a game. And you love the fight for Simi Valley in the second half. The defense stepped up, special teams were really good, and then the offense, not necessarily night and day from the first half, but at least the one thing they know now is we have a legitimate passing game with some threats. I like what I saw out of Darling tonight. It's just unfortunate for them they couldn't quite get that last score and maybe have a chance to go for that 2-point conversion and see if they can pull it out.
Buena in victory formation, and the Bulldogs will move to 2-0. Elation for this Buena team as they do the double over Royal last week and Simi Valley this week. The Buena Bulldogs, a sweep of the two Simi public schools. Closer, surely, than what Coach Gutierrez wanted. Final thoughts, guys.
Well, now Buena has shown the ability they can win close games. Last week, you do it against Royal. This week, you do it against Simi Valley. That's good to know because you see sometimes in any level of football, teams will win some blowout games early, and then when they're battle-tested, they kind of are a shell of themselves. This is now back-to-back weeks where they've won close games. That's a good sign for the rest of the season.
And they've had to kind of come back to get them after kind of having a lead and seeing the other team come back on them. They've shown some resiliency, and that's going to really help them down the line.
A lot of guts, after Royal scored with, 2.5 minutes to go last week, and then Buena really with a 2-touchdown lead, giving up 2 scores and 2 2-point conversions in a matter of 29 seconds. A lot of resiliency from this Buena team. We'll see their crosstown rivals Ventura next week as the Cougars host Rio Mesa. But it's all about the Bulldogs tonight as they move to 2-0 on the season in the VCS Preps Game of the Week. Remember the VCS Preps post-game extra with highlights and analysis from the three of us coming your way on VCS Preps over the weekend. Follow us on Twitter at VCS Preps. For our producer, Anthony Placencia, for my broadcast partners, Derry Eads, and Kent Brown, my name is Danny Page. We'll see you next week at Larrabee Stadium. Bulldogs 37, Pioneers 30. Good night.